I guess I could do an intro. I was just gonna get right back into talking, and I wasn't uncomfortable. Welcome to Soupcast. I'm sitting like 40 feet away from the mic. Not really.
It's your two boys, Kaleb and Chandler, and then boy number 3, Jay.
I'm an individual boy, apparently.
It was your one boy here, Kaleb,
and we
plus
have
your other boy, Chandler, and then that third boy, Jay.
And we have a special guest with us tonight. Someone who we've been trying to get on hold for a long time. Really famous.
Years.
We got Ryan Gosling here.
He's being shy.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling's kind of a shy person.
I promise he's over there in the corner flexing and spanking ass cheeks. He's doing exactly what you'd expect.
What'd you expect?
Skateboarding and who's Ryan Gosling?
He's the guy who plays like the hot character in like a lot of the different movies.
Your ears are so fucking warm. His ears are warm. Come feel his ears.
Ryan Gosling's ears are warm?
Yeah,
come feel Ryan Gosling's ears, dude.
Well,
They're
Ryan Gosling.
so fucking warm.
Your ears are so... They are really warm. It's like genitals.
Yeah. Okay, feel it. Feel his ears.
But yeah, this is Soupcast until the name changes.
Welcome to episode number 2 of Soupcast.
Well,
Two.
Three.
I recorded one with my friends over the weekend, my birthday, remember?
Really?
Yeah.
Really, dude?
You didn't tell us?
Really?
No.
Really?
There's gonna be like 4 months where I live in the summer and don't see you guys ever.
Guys, this is third boy checking out for the last time.
This is the last episode of the podcast.
And third and last episode of the Soupcast.
Oh Jesus, toss this in there. But yeah, this is the Soupkitchen and podcast. And now we're done introing, so we can get back to being natural.
Yeah, so
Let's see what's cooking in the bowl pot
let's see
today.
what's brewing in the stew today.
How about them dreams?
How about dreams? Yeah, that's an interesting topic. How about Kaleb? You go first.
I don't dream.
Well, think of a dream at some point.
It's so disappointed. Well, the last time I had a scary dream, it was about, for some reason, my mom was like going to look at a new truck or something in a dream. And then her and my brother get in the car, and they're like, alright, we're going to drive it around, you stay here. And I was like, alright. And then I just stood on the side of the road while they drove off. And then some guy in the distance, it's like a cutscene, you know, where like the sides pan out and you focus on one thing even though there's other stuff going on. And like this car is like spinning and curling, and then it like kind of spins out, and this guy jumps out of the seat and just sprints straight at me, and then it just zooms in on his face, and then I wake up. That was like when I was 10 or something. That's a long time ago. There's one I had where I was running around my cousin's house, but it wasn't my cousin's house, but for some reason in the dream I'm like, oh yeah, this is my cousin's house. But it was like a playland. It was like a 4-story McDonald's playland, so it was just wild. And then I was running around there, and I didn't have any weapons, but I was running away from people with weapons. And I was having fun, but there was like people dying. It wasn't a fun environment.
Oh, that's another dream that I had. Sorry, go ahead.
This lady caught me, and she pinned me down, and then she like stabbed me in the leg, and I like felt my leg hurt, and then I woke up, and then my leg was sore.
You know, I had a dream one time that I was like bitten by like a spider or stung by a scorpion. Then I woke up and I just felt like this intense pain in my arm where I got stung or bit in that dream. And then it just went away after like a few minutes.
I got stung 3 times in the arm by a scorpion when I was sleeping, and I woke up and went, ah, fuck! Grabbed it, squished it, and threw it at the wall, and then laid back down.
I remember one time I got stung by a scorpion in my own house by literally came out for me in the fridge. I was barefoot. I literally almost stepped on it.
There's a spider living on my computer monitor.
There is.
Right now?
I see him mess around every now and then. I just like, not today. I just haven't touched it.
So one thing that I actually tried, I was telling Jay this, was that if you actually take like Glade or like air freshener, you get really close spray to them, it actually puts them in a shock and they can't move for like a good few minutes.
Poor guys.
Because it's so cold and the chemicals that are in it, they literally just get paralyzed. So you don't have to worry about a spider running away when you try to grab it. It'll literally just stay there. Like, it tries to move, but it can't. So you can literally just pick it up and then toss it in the garbage or whatever.
I always wondered what that must feel like to be like an ant or something when you like spit on it. Like if you're a human, you're walking in the street and then just a giant like
hug a fucking loogie on an ant
fucking
and just
pond
drowns.
of like aerosol just smacks into you like a hurricane. Like your nostrils.
Well, there it is. It's like a fucking hurricane.
They're like, hey, the chemicals of the ants will kill. If not, the hurricane sure will.
It'd be like, imagine like.
Imagine what an actual hurricane is like to an ant.
But a hurricane is like.
Oh my god!
They're like fucking like, oh shit, guys, I think the world's ending.
That's like us trying to comprehend the fourth dimension and seeing a real life hurricane.
Or tsunami, just like,
it's just a change in the atmosphere, and it's like, I guess things are blue today, and then it's dead. I can't really comprehend a hurricane.
They're like, oh, look at that. Oh shit.
Alright, what are you gonna say, Jay?
With what? Dreams?
Yeah, you're getting all
I have so many dreams. Okay, so this is actually a really important dream. It's actually really serious. So my first memory is having a dream where it flashes through my life from birth to when I was 5 years old when I actually woke up that day. But it was just like, it was like if your life flashes before your eyes, but it was just like images of me being young and me being with like there's an image of me with my great grandmother, and there's an image with my tata showing me like the sunset, and it was like this huge rush of like flashbacks of me being like 3 and 2 and 1 and 4, and I woke up being 5 years old, and that was my first memory. Is that dream?
That's weird.
I woke up like panicking. I remember I woke up panicking, and my mom got me, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I go, "I had a bad dream." And like that was when I just started remembering my life. You know how you don't really remember your life like when you're 3 or 2
it's
or
like
1.
4, 3.
It wasn't like I was having
Do you
like.
remember it now? Or do you just remember at that time you could remember?
That's like the first moment where I could remember. Does that make sense?
That's
Like-
the earliest you can go into your life.
Yeah,
It's
is
the
that
earliest
that
memory you
dream and me waking up panicking and like asking for my mom, and I was 5 years old when that happened.
I had a really weird. My earliest memory of remembering something was literally my brother sticking a game of Mario on his Game Boy Advance in my face, and me waking up to that. Like that's the earliest memory I had.
Oh my god.
That's it. Like I remember like being. I was waking up and there was just this screen in my face of like Super Mario fucking Bros on the Game Boy. And then my brother just runs away, and I get out of bed and start walking around. Like that's where my life started. I was like,
Yeah.
well, this can only go
My
up
life
from
started
here.
with a dream, and my life's gonna end with a dream. Oh my god, what if that actually happens? Like, you know, I started my life with this memory of like kind of like flashbacks of when I was young, or like I guess when I was younger, and then I wake up, or like when I die, I have like my flashback of my entire life.
Wow. I was thinking, I can't remember my earliest memory. I can't like pinpoint when the time frames are. I remember one time when I got really mad at my mom because she like I was doing something and got in trouble, and so I kicked this like big yoga ball that was downstairs for some reason, and it like bounced into this decoration, and I knew my ass was about to get beat, so I like turned around and saw her, and then I just ran upstairs, and miraculously she didn't catch me, and I made it back to my room. And that was cool. And there was like another one where I remember digging a hole outside with my friends, and we were acting like construction men, and we were like drinking like we had those like little fruit cups. For some reason we had like a fucking box of like 64 of them in aluminum cans, and these like little aluminum can fruit cups. So we're out there like a bunch of retarded kids like digging a hole in the ground, and I'm like, oh god, it's a hard day. And then we bust out like
Crack a cold one with the boys.
It wasn't even like their beer. We were just like, I think we were treating them as like energy drinks or like
Energy drinks.
like
Yeah,
sensory
cracking a
beans or
cold
something.
Cracking a cold one with the boys.
But it was just funny. I just remember like, leaning back, we're all sweating, drinking these stupid ass fruit cups outside.
What are you digging? Just nothing? Just like digging?
We're just trying to see how deep we could get, and then all we did after was just put the swing set above it, and then like stand on the swing set and just like move around on it.
So one of the craziest dreams I had was back in like I think 3rd or 4th grade, and I had this entire dream. I think it was like 20 or 30 minutes, where there was this girl that I liked in like 3rd or 4th grade, and I already had the dream of like going up to her, telling her that I liked her. She's like, "Oh, I like you too," and and as a little kid, your little penis gets hard. You're like, "Okay," stuff like that. So I was like, you know what?
Clapped?
So I woke up, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. So I woke up complete 180. It did not fucking happen that way.
Did she spit in your face?
No, I
and
already
called
told
you
her. I
dirty?
already was like, maybe if I play it as a kid, I was like, if I play the same way as a dream, maybe it'll come true. So I already did that, and she's like, that's really weird, and just walked away from me. I was like, well, there goes that.
That was me.
I've only ever had one dream that I can remember where I had sex in it, and I was like 12, and I boned Katara from Avatar.
Come on, here we go. what I'm talking
I
about.
just remembered that.
And then it was just crazy. Like I was like, oh man, like maybe if I play this dream out exactly, everything will go right. Nope, everything went opposite of right. The only thing that went right was me going up to her and saying everything verbatim in that dream.
It's kind of cool.
I literally was like, I literally remembered the dream just so I can I wrote it down just so I can do it perfectly.
Cool. It was like
And now you're with me.
Yeah.
That was me. Plot twist. I said that's really
I
weird.
didn't know you in third or fourth grade. You were like in first or
Kidding.
second at that
I
time.
was. Pervert.
My fault.
I have a lot of crazy dreams.
I
I remember them all.
had a dream once where I was playing Russian roulette with a bunch of people.
I've had so in my dreams, this is the weird thing about them, is that it's like a whole other world where it's like, in my dreams, there are things that make sense. And there's people that reoccur in those dreams.
Your dreams have like an anime lore to them. Remember Jack Black? Remember when he went on Nickelodeon Slime Time?
Remember we went on Eric Andre's show?
Yeah, it was good.
What are they saying?
Jack is back, the king is splat.
Okay.
I'm the
I'm the
host.
host with the most. I'm rocking face from coast to coast.
Jack is back.
Remember when he was in that Gorillaz music video for like their new album?
Was it?
Yeah, it was like which one was the song called?
Humanity.
Yeah, it was literally just him like playing
He
guitar.
just played guitar.
As like really old Jack Black just playing guitar. It
It was great. I love Jack Black.
Because you're like, man, the song's really good. It's like, why is Jack Black playing the guitar?
Yeah, it's just him like going around the.
Does Jack Black play the guitar? I feel like he's more like a drummer.
He is a guitarist.
Is he a guitarist?
Yeah, Tenacious D.
I mean, you didn't see him in School of Rock, remember that movie?
Yeah, School Rock.
No, I know.
School of Rock?
Nacho Libre.
Probably plays the Spanish guitar. That's right. No, I just pictured him more as like a.
He plays the ukulele.
I pictured him more as like a drummer for some reason.
Because he's the drummer here.
I don't know. He just looks like a drummer.
Yeah, with all this crazy noise.
Maybe he does actually heavy metal, and we just don't know. Maybe
Well,
just
he
screams
does do metal,
fucking into the
Does he
mic.
rock?
No, he's just like rock.
Remember when he was on that? Remember when he was on that show? What was that show called? The Legends of Rock or whatever. He had a video game that was like Rock Legends, and it's like,
Yeah, The Legend of Rock.
yeah. But there was a TV show where he was on. It was like,
Was he really on one?
it was an Adult Swim show. It's like Metal something.
And-
Metalocalypse, right?
He was. No, he was not.
Was he not on Metalocalypse?
He was not on Metalocalypse.
Maybe it's just the game then. The
Hey guys, comment below if Jack Black was on Metalocalypse.
Hey guys, Scare's here.
Hey Jack Black, if you're out there, man, get on
Let
this
us know.
Come on the
podcast.
podcast.
We'll
dude.
treat you better than Eric Andre
Yeah.
Treat you better than any
And
other
Ryan.
person interview you had.
and Ryan Gosling.
We'll serve you tea.
And turkey.
We don't have any more turkey.
Tea.
We can't do turkey.
We have-
Jack
we have
Black, but we can get some tea, some water.
No, we'll make him a jelly and butter sandwich because of Jack Black, JB.
That's so stupid.
Flapjacks.
Flapjack.
What happened?
I said we'll make a sandwich with his initials JB, a jelly butter sandwich.
I'm actually curious, Ryan. What do you, as a philosophy major, like what classes are you taking? Obviously philosophy classes, like how many does that entail? Because I've only taken two. I've taken like intro and then world.
Oh, you mean like cumulative?
Yeah, like how much? Is it mostly just like ethic and other studies, liberal studies, or
No.
no?
No. Metaphysics, logic, symbolic logic.
Jesus.
Modern philosophy, ancient, contemporary, medieval. Law, property markets. And then there's capstone. There's a lot of
A
different
lot
ones.
more than I thought. Yeah, jeez. I wonder if this college we happen to go to has a good program of philosophy.
They started out, the university-wide, started out as undergrad only, and then students would go to the other school for master's programs, and then they would go to the other school
For the
for
doctorate.
PhDs. So
College.
it has the best undergrad programs.
It's fine.
Oops.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just do some magic.
Yeah.
We'll just say.
Thanks,
we'll,
Ryan Gosling, for that
we'll
educational-
edit Caleb being like college, like where you say like
Well, I
it's
know.
all I end the plus with college.
I can say college in French.
My social security numbers are.
I'm gonna give you 99 random digits. One of them is my social security number.
I'll give you guys a hint. My zip code. Work from
My
there.
zip code.
I like how we talk like we have any fans. The YouTube channel hasn't even been created yet.
The video's
Hey
gonna be-
guys, comment below if you're a fan.
Hey, if you're a fan, fucking like that like
Hit
button,
that
no matter
fucking
what.
subscribe button and build your fucking cock.
Yeah. Pro
Sounds like it
challenge.
hurts.
Pro,
Get hard just for our channel and slap it.
pro YouTube challenge. Everyone says
If you're
you
not
can't-
100% erect, you don't hit the subscribe button.
Everyone says you can't do it. Smash that like button with your erect penis.
And if
you
you're
can't do
if you're
it, you have
if
to
you're
subscribe.
and obviously if you're a woman
Do
because
you
you,
know
don't have a dick.
Pony 2012 had a
You-
hard penis?
How to what?
Do you think he had a hard penis? Did Coney get? Coney 2012?
From the video,
How hard was his penis?
there's a part in the end where he gets erect.
Really?
Yeah,
How
his little
hard
bulge
does
grows.
his penis go though?
Well, we don't see it hit full mass, so probably half chub maybe.
But like, let's put it to like a length.
I think it was notorious that he had a small peen because he was like a small peen pea brain, you know?
Peen pea brain, huh?
The actual Coney from, like, Coney, like the man doing this, the crazy, like, African warlord guy doing that stuff. I
How
don't know.
much 2012s would you put into Coney?
You talking about
All my, I'll put it, I would put
Are you
it
talking
all,
about the
I would put it
Pebbles video?
I would put it all I would put in all my stocks,
All your stocks into Coney?
which is none.
Wait, are you not talking about the YouTube?
No, like
Psychic
the
Pebbles?
whole thing of Coney.
Oh, I thought you were talking specifically about the Psychic Pebbles video. I was like,
I was like, like, dude, actually show his penis? Like, I was like,
Sure,
are you
sure.
asking how penally, how large is
how
Coney's
hard
peen?
can Coney get his peen?
As hard as a Coney hot dog,
Probably as hard as any other man. I don't think he has erectile dysfunction.
or he does.
Well, you
Maybe he
don't
does. We don't know.
He's older.
What if he like can only get up to a quarter chub? He's like, that's all I can do, hun. She's like, we're
Really
done.
lame.
Aw. Are you guys afraid of that? Are you guys afraid of like
Think how
erectile
bad that'd be.
dysfunction?
I'm terrified of erectile dysfunction.
Really?
Especially since my sex drive isn't off the charts right now. I'm not like a fucking raging rhinoceros trying
Just
to
take
breathe
Viagra,
everything
Caleb.
inside.
Solve all your problems.
Viagra.
I think I just need to enter a womb.
Take a lot of
Enter
steroids.
a womb.
Caleb, if you want a
What are
big
you
penis,
doing? Fucking
Caleb, if you want a penis, just overdose on steroids.
If I want a
Just
penis. I wish I had a penis.
What is it called? Like rebirthing, where you like go into the vagina again?
Just like, well, I'm going in where I came back out.
Just like come back in and just like
Shrink
save a
in-
little
shrink
warmness,
inside.
and you're like, oh,
It wasn't
alright, I'm ready.
I'm ready to be born again.
I wasn't done growing.
Wait back in. My penis isn't done growing.
Put it back in. I swear I can get bigger.
Maybe if I just spend a couple more days in here, I'll at least grow another inch.
I am scared of erectile dysfunction though.
This is kind of scary. Because if you think about it, like, if you get it, it's hard for you to get a fucking erection.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
just the
the
condition.
definition of
No,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
mostly just scared of it right now because I haven't actually like even ventured into that
What,
side of life really.
Caleb,
What's
some
the
hope.
scary part of it?
Because I haven't entered that side of life. Because at one point I would like to be like a fucking crazy animal, like for a weekend or something.
full
Just go back to
testosterone.
I don't know.
Hook
Like,
yourself with
what's the
testosterone.
scary part of it? Is it like it's not pleasing her, or like
I mean, yeah.
just having a little sausage? Like that'd be kind of like that'd be sad, I
I don't
guess.
really care.
Was one of those little
Like,
bacon
look
wrap
at a little-
sausages are like this big.
Look at a little boobie, and you just have this little like floppy sausage.
Look at that.
She's you're like she's like completely naked, like ready to fuck you. You just can't get hard. She's like flopping around, like, is it working? You're like, no.
So I guess like would it be embarrassment is the scary?
No, it's literally just I want to be able to please whoever I'm with. Like, that's pretty much all.
Okay.
I don't want to be this like
I
little.
think it'd be a little embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't want to be this like little soft cock. Like, is this all you got? And you're like, I have erectile dysfunction. And then she's like, I guess I signed up for this. Cool.
She's like, I thought I signed up
that
for
would
iron.
suck. What if she just got up and started putting her clothes back
She's
on?
like, I thought I signed up for iron cock, not butter stick.
That didn't rhyme. What
I didn't want it to rhyme. The
It
whole
would've
point
been better
was
if
the
it
fucking
rhymed.
analogy that if his cock was like fucking butter, it just goes flaccid fast.
Actually, it'd just be slippery.
Yeah, salty.
Or like you
greasy,
squeeze it, it just comes out of your hands.
melty cock. Jesus.
What if that was the
What
thing?
if
Like,
your penis
what if your
was butter flavored?
Really gross.
Be really? Is it salted or unsalted?
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe it's not.
She's like, wow, I can't believe it's not butter. Just as she's like flopping around.
Dude, it'd be so easy to give a hand.
What if your penis was like made of
What
like
if
the
your
same like
penis
hold
was
on
butter?
like what if your penis is like what if your penis is like made of the material Play-Doh? You just make it longer if you wanted.
This podcast really is just gonna be penises. Isn't it?
Alright. Put the title as Big P Going Ding.
Ryan Reynolds, Big Peen.
Ryan
Ryan Gosling. Ryan
Gosling Reynolds getting
Reynolds,
peen.
Gosling, Ryan.
What would you guys switch your names to?
I don't know, I'm pretty satisfied with my name. I would change the spelling of my actual name because it's too complicated.
Remember I told some buddies I would switch my name to Coda.
You told that one crazy girl that said she was a gangster.
Yeah.
Quotation, air
I was
quotation
gonna
marks.
use names. I was like, I told him like, I think Coda would be a cool name, and everybody laughed at me and said that's the name of a dog. I was like, yeah, but I could pull it off.
I know a girl named Coda.
I think Coda would be cool. And I want to
What's your
stay.
nickname?
I want to stay in the K's, you know. I don't want to just too far
I
from
like Coda.
K.
Just make your name Kodak. Just added K to
I don't know
that.
what like it'd be like.
You're just a camera brand man.
I don't really know if my name could be like Cody, maybe. Cody.
I can see it.
No, I don't like Cody.
I can see it though. Philip.
My go-to
No.
name for a guy is Jeremy.
Really?
I like that name. It's like simple and likable. I don't know why.
Jeremy.
Jeremy. I feel like it's so common that it's uncommon.
My go-to name for a guy. It's a really weird question, I guess. I don't know.
I think my go-to name for a guy is like Drake or like David.
Drake and Josh.
I was also thinking
That's a
David.
good show.
David and Drake.
I think my go-to name for a girl is like Sammy or like Julie or something.
What's my go-to name for a girl? I think it's like my go-to name is usually like Cindy or something. Cindy, Sydney.
I keep seeing Stephanie coming up in like my
Yeah,
life.
Stephanie. I like
Stephanie always just comes up in my life, and now I just have mixed feelings of that name.
I met some cute
Jessica.
Stephanies. Jessica, yes.
Jessica.
That's very common.
That is the name of my, and put like a little bleeping noise right here.
What's the name of my?
Wait, what?
Like it's like that's the name of my, and it's like, beep.
Fake news.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna edit it and then gonna look goofy.
Spoiler alert.
Really?
Trying to make fake news.
Really? She just start yelling. No!
Stop! Promise me you'll edit it. Promise me.
Start it, please.
Get a knife to your neck. Listen, buddy. Only one of us is coming out of here alive.
I was asking.
It's not me.
I was asking all my coworkers this. What makes you guys the most angry? What makes you angriest? Like, what's the? I was saying, what's
So,
the
like,
fastest
pet-
way to make you angry?
It's like pet peeve.
Not really pet peeve, like actual anger, like the way I respond to politics. Like, what's the fastest way to make you?
I have a few things. One of them is, like I said before, politicized and everything. I absolutely hate that.
Politicized,
when,
I mean,
like when something that should be politicized, like for example, I said like the whole Flint, Michigan crisis
Like it should have
thing.
been politicized.
Like
It
there's
should
no
have been
reason it should have been
emergency.
politicized. Like just fix it, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason it had to be this whole fucking
Political battle.
battle
Like,
for a whole entire fucking
save
election
the poor
season.
kids that are dying.
Shit, sorry.
Cut that out.
So, well, that'll be the soundbite for bleeping things.
No, and then my other,
That's a
I
good
think,
one.
I think the thing that makes me really angry is people be on their phone when I talk to them.
Really?
I hate it.
Oh no.
You do it all the time, and I fucking hate it.
Ooh, this is good. We're making developments.
No, so
Alright, thanks,
no,
therapist.
so no, it's just that like if I'm talking to you and you're on your phone, you obviously don't care what I'm saying. So I'm like, why am I wasting my breath? And then they were like, oh, sorry, I was listening. What'd you say? Most of the time, I'd be like, fuck it, you weren't listening to me.
Most of the
I
time,
feel that.
I'm on my phone, not just because I'm not, like, it's not really distracting me. It's like something I can do with my hands. Because usually I'm playing, like, stupid, like, easy games. So, like, something's going on with my hands, so I can just think of every other fucking thought that's in my mind.
But then I tell you something, you're like, what? So
Because I'm thinking of so much stuff. Usually I do this to, like, kind of, like,
Quit.
relieve stress. And I'm just like,
Quit trying to justify the problem. Just fix it, right? We got one of those
Stupid
teachers.
one.
There was like another thing that kind of drives me, that gets me really angry. I wouldn't say angry, because I don't think I've ever been like, I've been fully angry like a few times.
only a few. I don't think I've seen you really angry.
I think it was once. It was something over like our old friend group, and I got like really mad one day. I think.
Not taking out the trash.
No, I don't think I've seen you.
Yeah. I don't think she's ever seen me like fully angry. I've gotten to some points where
Actually, no, I remember you screaming
I just farted.
once. Did you? Why would you do that?
You know this big pet peeve of mine, Caleb.
That was it!
I'm
Party
gonna
in my
fucking
house.
flip the table. No, there's like a third one that's not as bad, but it doesn't happen as common. But I can't think of it. If it comes to my mind, I'll say it. But definitely my top two are police-wise everything. Then obviously be on your phone and try and talk to you or something like that. Yeah. Not necessarily. It could be anything else. Like you could be not looking at me, but you could still be listening. You could be still not listening because that's different. But if you're literally on your phone talking to someone else or doing something else, it clearly means you don't care about what I'm saying.
I always try not to do that when I'm on first dates because I remember I read a long time ago that like if they're on their phone, they're probably not interested. So I try to like not be on my phone when I'm like on a first date.
I remember you used to do that a lot.
What?
Like the first few times we went to eat, you were on your phone quite a bit.
I wasn't. No, the first time we went out to eat, I literally would tell you, hold on, let me message my mom because my mom was a psycho at that time, and if I didn't, her name is,
Her name is Mom.
if I didn't message her what I was doing like every 20 minutes, like
That's
she
true,
would freak
yeah.
out. So the first couple of times when we were barely like meeting, I would go, hold on, I'm texting my mom. I would literally tell you, and I would do it and then put my phone down, flip it over so you know I'm paying attention to you.
Yeah.
So don't hit me with that bullshit. You know what my biggest thing to make me angry, just easily, is assumption. Assumption of anything.
What kind of
Just like-
assumption?
Just like literally like my biggest assumption, the biggest thing that I've found that really angers me, especially with my family, is they'll have this assumption of like, because I'm in college, I'm doing awesome, and I'm rich and wealthy, and everything's going great in my
And you don't know how work is.
Yeah, and I don't know what the real world is.
Just like being sheltered or something, like something you didn't grow up in, like
Yeah.
a fucking farm.
Yeah, exactly. And
All of that
I
just got erased when you signed up for like algebra.
yeah, like it pisses me off. So like at that point, like all sense just leaves me. I just want to scream. Like it really frustrates me because it's like I just hate when people assume anything. It's like I hate when I'm fucking eating a meal and then I walk away and I come back and then someone goes, oh, I threw it away because I just assumed you were done because you walked away. It's like,
That's me.
ask me. Like it's so easy to. I guess the thing that makes me upset is it's so easy to prevent is by just genuinely asking, but no one ever does it. It's just like they just assume that this is what it is. I don't know. That's the thing that like just pisses me off. No matter what it is, it's like, oh well, I assumed you were good at math. It's like,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know.
What about you, Kaleb boy?
Me for one, politics, but specifically being dragged into it. Like, there was one time when a Filipino boy of ours that we know, little weeaboo kid.
Matt Watson?
From
For
Super Mega?
Super Mega? Dude, I love him.
No, but oh shit, Jay, what's up? That kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Watson, he's fucking
Yeah.
cool, dude.
From Super Mega?
Oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
It's a clever way around things. Yeah, no. Him and then his friend, I went over to their apartment, and then, like, for some reason they wanted to talk about politics or, like, drifted that way. And then I was like, yeah. So I'm not going to talk about it, but then I just kind of, I didn't get, like, dragged into it, but it just turned that way. And then I made the mistake of saying anything at all, like, I think that, like, this is going well, and it's like, I have 16 sources saying that it isn't, and, like, and it wasn't that aggressive, but that's basically what it boiled down. It was like, I've read 4 articles that says that it's actually the complete opposite of what you think. I'm like, alright, well, then I won't fucking talk, like, here we are again. Like, that's what happens every single time, it's just like, it's like a trap, it's like, what do you think about this, huh? I'm like, I don't know, I think the Xbox is a strong console, and it's like, got you, I've got 4 sources saying that every Xbox owner is a rapist. Got you, you're fucked. And I'm just like, then why, like...
Literally. No,
like,
you know what I realized that tonight with our Friendsgiving, that we literally broke the number one of Thanksgiving. You're not supposed to talk about politics.
Well, yeah,
All we did was talk about
Yeah, exactly. We broke the number one rule of Thanksgiving.
Hey, happy Friendsgiving, all our viewers. I hope you're having great holidays, eating food, no matter what it is. Please don't be starving.
This podcast will come out 3 months after the fact.
If you're starving, please just drop your Wi-Fi and actually go get food, motherfucker.
Will you change your IP address and reset your router?
Like,
Cancel the phone bill.
Cancel your subscription
Just
to your
please,
internet.
please don't be starved.
You solely rely on data.
That's like all that makes me mad.
Oh, happy Diwali! Diwali was like 2 weeks ago. All of our Napoleon.
I really don't even
Napoleon.
know.
Just people from Nepal. Just say people from
People
Nepal.
from Nepal are all our Napoleon viewers. Happy Diwali! Fight that fucking
All of our
dragon.
Napoleon Bonaparte viewers, welcome.
What about you, Ryan? What's the fastest way to make you mad?
Be racist or something.
So just like
Just racism.
being like intolerant then?
Ignorant, arrogant, probably.
Bigotry.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else really makes me angry.
Pretty what's the word, progressive, I guess?
Pretty mild, I'd say. The only thing that could make me angry is something that massively violates the dignity of another human being.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, that makes
I
sense.
thought you meant like something light, like I don't even know. But yeah, if it's like a direct,
You thought it was like more broad of just like.
if it's like, why aren't we lynching? You know what I'm right, guys? It's like, all right, cool. Now we're having a good time. that would be more mild. I thought it was like, you guys want to have Mexican food? I'm like, really? Because I'm Mexican? And walks off. It's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, that makes more sense.
That makes sense. You got really quiet.
I mean, that's pretty straightforward. It doesn't really need a whole lot of explaining.
Hey! Oh, sorry.
It doesn't really make me mad. I don't know.
Yeah, assumptions.
I don't really come into contact with a lot of racism, as you'd expect, I think.
Yeah.
Are you a half full?
My dad makes me laugh, but that's just because, like, it's harmless.
What are you, Caleb? Are you a half glass full or a half glass empty kind of guy?
I actually had an argument for this a long time ago, but I can't remember it now.
You're an idiot. Alright, so next topic. Hey guys.
Soupcast here.
Still here, still.
Let's see what's stewing on the pot on the front.
You guys like
Oh,
memes?
Let's talk about our favorite memes. Every fucking
Wait, we have to do our.
Two happies, crappy.
Alright,
We'll be
two
changing.
happies, one crappy.
Let's
Caleb,
go.
you start this time.
I start two happies, one crappy. One happy is that I don't have to wake up tomorrow morning, and I'm very excited about that because I get to
Wow.
play Soul Calibur, make an incel. I'm planning on making Socrates now, and then
Mr. Krabs.
This one philosophy class is really good.
about two, but yeah, they're
Two. I'm
they're always a ride.
master
I
of
think it's
strategic
because.
thinking. I'm
Two.
joking.
Thank you very much.
Socrates he touches you in ways other men haven't.
In your mind and heart.
Especially when, like, I already had one class, so I'd already been kind of exposed to philosophy a little bit, but we didn't touch on Socrates much, but then, like, this time we really dove into him. But when you're just not exposed to the world of philosophy at all, when you're actually open to, like, thinking that way instead of just being, like, a douchebag kid and being like, this is a fucking waste of time, I wish I didn't have to take this stupid class, like, we're just talking about the stupidest shit. Like, when you actually are interested even just in, like, I don't, like, care about any of this, but just thinking in that side of, like, the mind, it's a super, like, interesting thing. To anybody, to our 3 fans out there, I recommend, if you can at some point in your life, just take a philosophy class, or maybe even just watch the Philosophize This podcast or something, because it's really interesting stuff. But, yeah, I'm happy about that. Another happy would be, I'm gonna have to come back to me on that one. I only got one right now. A crappy? I mean, I guess I'm 21. That's a good happy. It's a cop out. My birthday was fun.
Happy birthday, dude.
See all my friends. Thanks, man. My crappy would be. That.
That's my crappy. Alright, move on. What's your crappy, Caleb?
I don't think I have a crappy. Oh, actually, I do have a crappy. I've been chewing the shit out of my nails, and they all hurt. Look at my.
Dude, look at me.
Bleeding. Look at that. Hold on. Do you see the deformation?
What's wrong with you?
It's got,
So-
it's got a concave in the nail now. It's like the form of my fingernails collapsing. And they all hurt.
On my math exam today, I was like writing stuff and like, you know, biting the skin off my fingers because I'm just a monster. And then, so I'm writing stuff, and when it starts bleeding, I don't realize until it like smears all over my paper. And so I went and asked the professor, like, hey, did I do this right? Did I do this graph
Blood
right?
smeared.
And he goes, yeah. He goes, what is this? And I go, I guess it was my marker because I didn't want to say it was my blood. And he's like, it doesn't look like marker. You know, like, I'm like, it is. Sorry about that. I just like turned it in, like sweating beads. I'm like, oh god, that was a close one.
He's
Like,
trying to catch HIV.
He's like, what is that?
I'm terrified of like. I saw this thing a while back of like a needle sticking out of like a public toilet paper thing, and apparently it was like laced with like AIDS and HIV, and I've been terrified of that ever since now.
that's scary.
Ever hear about that? Like people, they were like, I can't remember what this event was, but for some reason these fucking lunatics went into like the town and got like water bottles filled with like their HIV-ridden blood and like put them in like squirt guns and were just spraying them on people.
Holy shit.
It's fucked.
That is fucked.
There was at my old house.
Oh my god. Sorry, real quick, last one. I remember there were people that would like inject their HIV blood into Halloween candy and then give it out on Halloween. I remember that was a thing too. They're fucked, man.
I remember like
What a terrible way to do that too, because you're just like 13, eat some candy, find out when you're 22 before you even have sex, you have HIV. It's actually full-blown AIDS now because it's been
Holy.
developing for the last 16 years. It's fucking crazy.
I remember like at my old house at a park, there was these group of people who like put in like drug needles in the sand, and then when the police confiscated the tip, they found like traces of like HIV, AIDS, and stuff on
What's
top.
wrong with people?
So if like kids stepped in the sand at the park, they would have just been stabbed by a needle full of fucking
It's
HIV.
fucking terrifying. I wonder how effective that is though, because even if the needle has HIV on it, it's probably dead. It's been exposed to oxygen for very
I mean that too, but I mean yeah, but it's still rusted.
if it is
drug
buried in
needle.
the sand, I mean, yeah, it's not good at all. Like it's stuff inside the needle
I'd
that you
get
need to worry
tetanus.
about. But I remember there was some guys that went. Do you guys know where Fossil Creek is?
Mhm.
It's not really important where it is, but it's here in I think we can say AZ, and that's good. That's broad enough. I don't think our 3 fans will be searching all of AZ for us.
Not broad enough.
But there's a place called Fossil Creek in AZ that I visited one time, and there's a point like where you jump off a waterfall into this very like deep and wide like pool, and apparently somebody went out there at some point during like the slow season and put fucking rebar in the deep portion of the pool. So a couple like when the first few visitors of the seasons came, they jumped into the pool and were fucking impaled by rebar.
Yeah. That's insane.
Who does these things? How bored can you be in life that you need to do that? I don't understand.
You know, there's actually something I learned last year in my political ideologies class, where people would actually put rebars and fucking trees, like
Oh, yeah,
super
the
environmentalist
extreme
people will put
environmentalists.
rebars and fucking trees where they're gonna cut them, and so they would tell people like, oh, we put rebars in some of these trees, but you don't know which one. The reason why they can't do anything is they went with a chainsaw, cut it, all the chains would come off and all the teeth, and would hit people around them.
Jesus fuck, come on.
But and that's like their
My
way.
next life, I
And
want to
that's
be
that's
that.
the way of being like, no, we don't want you cutting down this
Be fun.
forest, or we don't want you cutting down
It's
these
like
trees.
being an extreme environmentalist. It's all like, if this planet can't live, then we're all going
They're
down.
they're literally
It's like,
where the people will cut the trees, they'll literally like take rebar, just hammer it up the tree, and then so when people go around and they have a certain area, they won't tell what trees have rebar. They'll just be like, oh, we put some rebar in some of these trees, so good luck.
one guy like was.
There's probably ways to get around the thing. Just like do those
Well,
like,
But you
have-
don't know where it is.
but you
or
don't
which
know,
one
like-
it is.
you can do those they're called like core taps or whatever. It's like a thin. It's like basically like a drill bit. You drill it all the way through. If you don't hit steel, you're fine. But I mean, it's still not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like still, like if they don't have it, they're like, well, it's just chainsaw it, and then fucking the teeth come off and hit everyone.
God, it's fucked.
That's insane.
It's like really
They
insane.
also,
They're
like,
really insane.
They
people.
believe that like the only way that this environment's ever gonna get better if everyone dies.
Yeah, I actually believe that if the
Yeah.
environment's getting better, we have to stop overpopulation. We need to go back to really small numbers and live like tribal people again.
I mean, in some aspects they're right, but at the same time, it's also
It's just the
unrealistic.
wrong way to go.
It's just unrealistic. It's like an anime
Yeah.
theme.
Anyway. All right,
That's
Jay.
great.
2 happies in the crack.
Oh yeah, we're still on this. God, my life isn't going well. That's it.
About 3 crappies and a 4th.
Fourth that crappy.
3 crappies and maybe happy.
Wow. Pass.
There's gonna be
I'll be
something
back. Can
happiest.
you?
Just extremely neutral.
Like, I don't know. It's just like there's been a lot of shitty days, but then there's also just been like, oh,
Nothing like really has good happened. Like
I
something
got
like
to
that.
watch Over the Garden Wall.
What
again.
about your math test? Like you aced that. That's pretty
Yeah, I
happy.
felt really confident about my math test.
That's
I don't know if
good.
that's like something to like.
That's good.
That's
I mean,
pretty
like
happy,
you
like-
dominated it. Why don't you tell your anime scene?
Oh yes. So like in my math class, I don't know, maybe I'm just like a weeb, but like I have this guy that it's kind of like a little small rivalry. Is that how you say it?
Valerie.
Close enough. But go on.
Please don't fuck with me. Rivalry, and I like to think of it as a little anime, and so from the beginning, like he would like openly brag, "Stop doing that! Stop! Why is everyone ruining my decorations?
I'm trying to fix that.
That didn't save my decoration."
Fine.
Jesus. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying.
You're saying how you have like a rival in your class.
Yeah, that's it.
No.
And you're gonna compare it to anime.
It's an anime, and so like
It's
there's
an
like
anime.
there's like these little like anime scenes where it's like he does little passive aggressive things to show like he's still fighting me.
He's still fighting me.
Like the first exam, he like openly kind of bragged in front of me, like looked at me. He's like, "Well, I guess I'm good at math." And then that like, you know, I had like a little anime inspirational moment where I like studied really hard. It's like a little montage of me getting stronger.
He's the Sasuke to your Naruto.
He is. And then I went and I did really good on the next exam. And he did really bad. And then, so, that was just like a little brief summary. But then anyways, a couple of days ago, because we had this exam today, there was a moment where a professor came up to us, and we're always the last ones to leave, and he goes, then he tells the guy, he's like, "Hey, are you having trouble with this? Do you understand this?" And he goes, "Oh, do you guys understand this and stuff?" And he like looked at me and he goes, "Oh, I understand it." And he goes, "This is great. I understand all of it." And then like it was this moment where he made eye contact, and like inside it's like the little moment where like the music intensifies and like our fists are clenching.
Picks up.
He like does his little glass push up and looks at me and then walks out.
The glass in the nose that you understand.
Yeah, the anime scene, and then the glasses like have a quick flash
Yeah.
between them.
That's how it was. And then it just like it just grind my bones, so I knew like I had to even try harder. So ever since this little rivalry has happened, he actually doesn't do the lectures by me because he used to sit two chairs away from me, like next to me. Now he sits in like somewhere different, but on exams he comes and sits at those two chairs. So I know this is a rivalry. Like how could this not be that he plans this every single exam or a quiz? He'll come back and sit right next to me.
I love this.
Like, why does he do that? It doesn't make sense, right? And I sit in the most awkward corner side place ever. So anyways, we're doing our exam, right? I finished early and I saw him with his, like, he had his elbow on the table and he's, like, messing with his hair and he's, like, trying to figure out the problem. And I get up and I have my body facing away from him. And I do, like, my head over my shoulder, little, like, glass push, and I go, "Good luck." And I toss my exam in and walk out with my hands in my pocket. And you can just see, like, this rivalry is going. It was really fun.
This is so great. The final exam's gonna have fucking pyrotechnics.
Oh my god. The final exam,
Final
we're all
exam
gonna
can be like
fucking
fucking My Hero
explode.
Academia. They're just gonna start shooting fireballs. and shit.
It's like I studied because I have to. I can't go back to where I'm from.
It's
I
really
have to
good.
press forward because there's nowhere left to go.
It's really fun because when you talk to him and you see him, he seems like a genuine person. But then like, I don't know, I like to think that we're both like genuine people that came from the same backstory. So like at the very end we're gonna realize like, you're a first generation student too. And then like, and like have this like crazy moment, anime moment.
It's gonna have a Naruto one. I can only understand you through my fists.
What's your crappy?
Everything else.
All of it. All the rest of life.
What about you, Ryan Gosling? Two happies and a crappy.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good as I am. I don't know what to say. My whole life is crap. College is
too.
hard.
You only have one crappy.
My life. That's one.
Everything else. That's like what I did. Everything
Yeah,
else.
everything.
Yeah, but any happies though, Ryan Gosling?
I got to see my friends today. And that's
Yeah.
always like,
Aww.
yeah, not you guys, but I thought, no, I'm joking. It was absolutely.
Hey,
And then,
nice.
I have a lot of work, like we all do, but I love what I study, so.
I like studying math because I have that rivalry now.
Still,
Makes math just that much more interesting out of a rivalry.
Yes.
still in my classes.
Yeah, I wish I had I had a rivalry with someone in my major. That'd be
You
kind
need to
of
find somebody. You
that'd
need to be
kinda
out
cool.
there. I have
just
like a couple
someone with like
rivalries
completely
actually.
opposite views of me, and then like we
You
get
know-
into like fucking debates and
Oh,
like,
that'd be dope.
we
Because
own each other here and there.
Because you're
But
Yeah,
then like,
politics
but then,
would be
but then,
so-
but then
Oh
like,
my
but
God,
then like
it
the
would be an
final, but then like
anime.
the final test is like, who gets to win the seat of representative for this district.
Oh
That'd be
my
dope.
God, Chandler, get your anime on. I like. Okay, you guys can't lie to me. If this life was an anime, it would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It would be
Okay.
fun.
If life
It
was
would
more
be
like
fun.
that,
It would be like funny fun. Like there's always like this like inspirational moment and stuff.
I could I would so be that guy that goes the well, I guess I didn't look at it like that, like the whole part of the back of my head. I
Like
would
the
so
goofy
be,
guy.
I'd so be that guy. That'd be like my signature.
Who would be
move.
the
Nothing would ever
protagonist?
get done though.
No, absolutely not. Well, no, it
No.
would because it'd be in these brief moments of just like flexing and screaming, oh, and like then everything would happen in that one like 25-minute period, and then we go back to the rest of the year of just
And then all your problems for the day would get pushed off to the next day.
yeah.
Ryan, if you were an anime, what person would you be?
You know, oddly enough, I don't watch anime, and I really don't have a good enough exposure to
Anime
To-
to say
to-
that.
give you an answer.
I feel like I would be that guy that like is kind of quiet, but is like really smart, has that smart response every here and there.
The
Everyone's
push-up
like, yeah,
glasses guy.
the push-up
Oh
glasses
my
guy
God.
says something smart. Everyone's like, whoa.
Push up glasses guy. Like Garnet from Steven Universe.
What
Oh
about you, Jay?
man.
She was so cool in that show.
If
I
you
like
were,
that.
if you
I
were,
love Steven Universe.
if you're an anime,
I just like Garnet.
I'll-
just like
Garnet
Garnet.
is a really good
That's a
character.
sexual thing for Garnet.
The whole thing is a very,
It's all
very sexual
sexual.
thing.
It has to be.
It's really interesting. I mean, it was kind of cool because when they did like an interview, it was like the creator of it was explaining how she just thought that this would be a better way to explain sexuality and gender to people, like to kids.
It was an interesting
And I was like,
idea.
oh, okay, like that makes sense. And it's like even if you don't see it that way, she like said it's just a fun show that just shows like love is kind of love.
I don't care for like the whole sexual twist they took with it. It made things more uncomfortable in my eyes because then it's like I'm watching a cartoon and there's like domestic abuse. Like, why don't you love me? It's like, all right, this is getting out of hand.
Well,
It was more
all
like it wasn't
media is
like
going to have underlying elements of a message, and I think that's
Yeah.
the goal of
yeah, it's
television to.
not all television, but that is end up what it becomes.
Well, there's certainly a message in all media text,
But yeah,
and I suppose some television has more important messages than others, right? So if we were to look at the Housewives of Beverly Hills, well, what kind of message is that? Well, not a good one. We'd say strive for drama and
or be a mom, or
money.
just be a woman and find a rich man,
Yes.
and then everything is
For,
okay.
versus
Yeah.
other messages, if we were to look at Teen Titans, or if we were to look at this show,
Like the
Steven Universe.
fucking documentary.
Yeah.
Like it has a different message.
so you
That
like,
makes sense.
so
I
you
never
do
actually
just
seen
mean
Steven
like
Universe.
you mean like in the sense of like a story or whatever. Where like there's the only reason it exists is to tell a story, kind of, or is to provide a message. Like
to
that.
to tell a story, yes, because there's a narrative, but there's values in
Yeah.
every media text, and I think for like Steven Universe, I think it's good to have that value, that of relationship value, because that's a really easy way to
Yeah.
send it to kids.
It was like it was interesting. Like
It really is the only one doing it from a kid's
Yeah,
atmosphere too.
it was
so-
actually kind of cool because like I was reading about it and then she ended up actually meeting a family where it's like their daughter transitioned to be a female, and so the younger girl didn't understand that, and so she explained it through like Steven Universe, and she's like, oh, So it's like, and it's like said some character. And I was like, oh, well, that's actually kind of cool because it just shows kids, like, you know, it's not a monstrous thing. Like, it's been, like, through religion and stuff.
And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be consciously at the forefront when you're watching the show now that there is this message of relationship and identity.
Like, that's
It's
another
just
thing. It's
something
not, like,
underlying
it's super,
it, yeah.
like, pushed either in that show. It's like, if you're a little kid watching Steven Universe, you're not going to go, oh, yeah, that's, like, explaining sexuality and that's explaining, like, abuse. To, like, an older stance of us being older and being able to comprehend more, we will. Like, younger kids, they see it, it's not really that violent, it's kind of cool, and then they kind of get an understanding of, like, now these, like, I guess, different sexualities and genders that are being represented.
Kind of reminds me of
I guess.
Kind of reminds me of like SpongeBob, because SpongeBob has like so many different like adult
Yeah,
themes
it was
and,
like adult
backstories
themes, but
and,
then
like,
it was still
and,
used
like shit
for
behind
children.
it. But when you're a child, you're like, oh, this is funny. But when you're an adult, you're like, oh.
Like,
You know what? Speaking, this is tangential, but when I watch SpongeBob now, I say things and I'm like, that's like so naughty.
Oh, they couldn't
Like,
get away with it now.
But as a kid, it makes me think of parents who won't let their children watch things because it's like they
can
like,
see it.
oh well, this is a bad show and has a bad influence. Well, no, it's not, because the kid doesn't understand
give
all
a
the
fuck.
mature things. When I was a kid, I didn't know all the dirty
I
things.
saw
in
colorful
SpongeBob.
things, and I was like, yes!
the kids are all just like, oh, look at a sponge.
I thought it was
That's it.
random.
I saw silly faces, and it took us 3 days to make that potato salad. 3 days. My dad laughed at it. I could recite the quotes to him, and then we both laughed.
My dad used
So
to
it
love
works.
SpongeBob. Like, he would watch it with me like
Wait,
all
so
the time.
what dirty scenes are in SpongeBob?
Well, like there's that whole episode of Woody based off cannibalism,
Oh, yeah.
where they're like hungry in the cave, they try to eat each other.
Well,
But
that was
as
a
it-
newer episode.
Well, it's still a newer one, but
I mean,
it
It's
still
just like,
has that.
I think it was more just like small jokes. It was like, the one where it's like,
There was the don't drop the soap joke, yeah.
And then
There
there's
was-
also the Woody the entire the show, like it's based off the 7 Deadly Sins as well. Like each character.
well, that's a conspiracy. I don't
Yeah.
want to say it's
There's
specifically
also the
based off of
I don't know
that.
if this one's rooted in fact, but there's also the one where it's like, oh, it was meant to be an adult sex show animation.
It was actually meant to be on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
But then they did some stuff to make it on Nickelodeon.
I don't know if that's true.
It was funny. There's like a couple when I was rewatching
Like
it.
you have to change a couple, more than just a couple.
One of
Well,
them
yeah,
was
I'll
like,
Take it from Adult Swim to kids.
There's-
Robot Chicken now on Nickelodeon.
There's one where it's
God,
like
someday.
SpongeBob and Sandy are talking, and SpongeBob's like, oh, I gotta go brush my hair, and then like Sandy goes, he doesn't have hair.
Oh
Or
yeah.
does he? And it's
Oh,
like, you know,
yeah.
it's like mentioning like his
Or
pubic hair.
or one of my favorite ones is all like, Patrick, your genius is showing. He's like, where?
Oh yeah, because he like
Hers
thinks
is
it says
good.
penis. And then there's that other one where it's the seahorse, and he's all like, "Oh, is it a ride?" And he goes, "I think I found it," and like he puts the thing.
Oh yeah.
With vagina.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
Thing.
Yeah,
I guess, yeah. That's true.
I can't seem to find the coin slot. Here it is.
yeah. Like there's just, it's just like small jokes like that. But like when I'm little, I just think it's funny. Like I'm like, "Oh, that's random," ha ha ha. Like
Yeah, like
that's so goofy. Like
I always assumed he was putting in the horse's butt.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought as a child too.
that's another one.
There's quite a
I
few.
don't know. I was gonna revisit Steven Universe because there's 2 times in that show where I think they like get a little too close, but it also like kind of does a good point. So it's like I kind of get it, but it was really uncomfortable. There's one part where this character, I don't know how much you guys have seen of it at all.
I've
but-
seen all of it.
Okay, so the part where
I never seen
Lapis,
Steven Universe, so.
there's this one like angry gem lady that's trying to like beat everybody up pretty much, and then there's this other girl Lapis who's more like a scene beam, and that angry gem lady takes Lapis and like fuses with her, and in that show fusion is sex, so basically
Yeah.
rapes her, and then in order to keep that person down, Lapis holds the fusion and controls it, and then for like an entire season she's like in the ocean like, where'd Lapis go? And she's holding this fusion together so the other one can't take control. And so for like this whole season she's like pseudo being raped but controlling the thing, but then she loses control, and then when she comes out of it she's like fucking broken. Like it's like she just escaped like a like sexual abuse thing. Like it was literally like her.
I never even saw that.
Her signs were like that of a sexual abuse. Like she was confused of her emotions and how she felt about things, and if like it was literal, like it was like wow, like. But I can also see how that would kind of show kids like, oh, it's wrong to force people to be with you if you don't. Like,
or do
I can see the importance, but for me, as like a kid, as like an older guy trying to watch a fucking kid show, it's like, oh my god,
but
right?
the,
Like,
but the
holy
thing
crap.
is, like, I would never even like have thought of that.
As a kid,
I
it's
don't know,
like
I mean, you just telling me this is the first time I've ever heard like of me even thinking like, oh my god, that's like an abusive relationship.
The other one I was thinking of is a part where they're trying to get another character that's more like, her name's Peridot. They're trying to get her to like come out of her shell and like open up to the group more. And she's from like a place where basically fusion doesn't happen. And then here on Earth, where
she's from Russia.
Yeah. No, but she's from home. Guys, I'm feeling like a freaking dweeb. But she's from like Gem Homeworld or whatever, where they don't do fusions. But
Ryan Gosling is melding dweeb.
call him out.
Called him.
But anyway, so fusion doesn't happen there, so she's uncomfortable with it and doesn't really understand it. And there's like a point. There's a scene where like he's like the Garnet's trying to get her to open up to it because they're a character that's always fused, and so like she knows more about fusion than anybody else because she's literally since like they met each other has been always fused. Like that is her preferred like existence is as a fusion, and so like there's like a part where she's like I can't remember how they get there. But they start like dancing and like they like grabs her hips or whatever and they start like dancing and then like Peridot's like freaking out and then she starts sweating. She's like no. And I can also kind of get that where it's like it's okay to not be comfortable with stuff if you're not ready yet.
Yeah.
But then again, as me, I'm like this is weird. Like I don't want to watch this episode. And there's other ones too. There's one where like these two are dancing and it gets really sexual and then like the two start competing over who's gonna get to fuse with Garnet because they like being with Fuse because they feel really powerful and they start getting mad at each other and they're like, I want to fuse with Garnet, I want to fuse with Garnet. It's like it's just weird. Like before when it was just like just fusion, it was like, oh, this is a fun show. But then when you introduce like, oh, this is like sex to them. This is like a relationship, like a sexual, physical, emotional relationship. It gets a little weird and it makes it harder to like...
I don't think it's like...
For me, it made it harder for me to enjoy the show.
I don't see it as like exactly sex. I
thought
thought of it
more
like
a
love.
relationship.
I thought of like a relationship, love. I didn't really like look at it and be like, oh, that they're having sex. It was like, cause like the whole like metaphor with Garnet is like, you
that's
know,
that's
a relation. She is like the personification of a relationship, and that's really it.
Well, the fusion itself, I think, is meant to be a relationship because of the one where she doesn't want to be a part of it. There's no
because
love
like
there.
even like Garnet says like, what it is basically she ends up, they both have the same thoughts and they end up just like fusing their thoughts and their care for each other into one thing, which is Garnet, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like a relationship should be that where like. You guys are both like on the same page all the time, so
well,
I don't really see it as sex. But
suppose regardless of the accuracy of any of our interpretations of a text, we're going to call this a text. It makes it. The reason it wouldn't be as enjoyable for you is because it's no longer this side thing to watch. It's now a communicative text that you're engaging with. It becomes a little bit of a research piece, even if that's not where you're intending it,
like
even if
personal.
you're not.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's like, so if you're in a communication theory class, you watch a movie, but you're not watching a movie to have a good time watching a movie. You're watching a movie to study it. And that's kind of what you would be doing if you're looking at these shows, even if you're just like quickly analyzing or making sense of what's happening. It's no longer just a show you're watching for fun. It becomes something you're engaging with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And so it does change the mood, naturally.
Yeah. And like personally, like we can all end up boiling this down to like it's up to everyone's individual like interpretation. Like I'm not gonna watch a movie and you guys are all gonna have the same emotions as I have in that movie. As simple as the movie can be, we all have our personal like ideas and like what we're interpreting.
The sound that just happened was Vader, your homophobic guinea pig, taking out his anger.
You know, speaking because you were just on subject SpongeBob episodes, another really fucked up SpongeBob episode was the one with the health inspector. where they already
that
killed
one's
him,
bad.
and then they covered up his murder,
Yeah.
like they tried to, and
That's right.
then he got up. They knocked him out again, just for him to be stuffed in the police car, brought to the Krusty Krab to be knocked out one more time.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
The Health
fuck-
Inspector.
that was
I guess there were a few bad episodes.
That was a pretty fucked up one.
I like the one where Mr. Krabs gets out of bed that one time.
He
and
has
it,
like 50
I'm
chins.
so old. Yeah, it's like 6 chins. He's wearing like a fucking dirty outfit, like mustard and ketchup stains, his like crotch stains, and it's like, just like
He's like,
really see
I've
the-
done everything I wanted to do. It's not even noon.
he didn't do anything.
There was that whole cussing episode too.
Oh
where
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, they're all beep, 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 beep.
And the dolphin.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was fun.
Squidward smells good.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess there were more stuff going on than I thought.
Crabs. Is that the big red sweaty guy you work for?
He's in the really sweaty. Yeah, look, Mr. Krabs getting all sweaty again.
I like how they like that's like kind of like a gag in some of the episodes where they just kind of point out he's a sweaty man.
He's getting all sweaty again.
Wow, Mr. Krabs, you're getting all sweaty again.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do my happies or crappies.
Yeah, we kind of went to a
Oh,
whole
shit.
rant. and all.
Keep it up.
Remember how Squidward was never actually his name? We just called him that since the Krusty Krab employee training video.
It's like hair everywhere.
We'll call him Squidward.
Oh yeah.
It's not even his name.
That was a good. I like that episode. The whole training one. I like how.
Did you get started by getting jabbed by my cold feet?
There was the one at the very.
No.
There was that.
I can't
One, there was that
realize.
one at the. Remember the
No,
episode at the
you
very
can't
end? Like
eat
he
it.
tried to say the crab by secret form and just cut off short.
Yeah. All right. So
In the first, apparently in the first run of that episode, that they actually didn't cut that last part out.
there's a little teaser, there's a little fun thing from one person.
Yeah, for like the first run of the episode, and ever rerun since.
What's the
They
secret formula?
cut it out.
I bet it was love.
Is crab. I like where's the
Ow.
this crab pie
motherfucker.
secret formula is
Playing.
plankton.
I told.
I warned you.
These motherfucking bitey guineas in this motherfucking plane.
They're like
Alright.
biting me.
2 happies and crappy. 1 happy. I don't have any classes tomorrow, so I can sleep in. Which would be another happy to sleep in. Crappy, I still have an assignment to do that's due tomorrow
Oh,
because
so do
I don't have class tomorrow. So they're like, my teacher's like,
12.
all right, you have to write a 500-word essay, which is actually not that bad. 500 words, like maybe a page or page and a half.
Pages, I mean, that's like work.
Yeah, like it's not bad.
That's bedtime writing.
It's really not that bad. Like I can do it in 20 minutes. I really.
Joey's biting. We have Darth Vader here.
Bite
Hey,
on the
give him a
loop.
hand. Woo!
Darth Vader, you have anything to say?
It was really cool how in the 4th quarter you came back and saved your son, man. It was pretty dope.
Yeah.
3 seconds on the clock and you did it.
So how do you
He threw the
feel?
touchdown to win the game.
How do you feel for people lying about your race?
With this new kind of physicalist perspective taking on consciousness, how do you feel? Does that worry you that it's getting rid of an immateriality?
Wow.
Confused.
Well,
Words by
you're
a
here.
philosopher.
You're here first from Darth Vader. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
He's conscious now. He finally got there.
You have to leave.
You think that'll ever happen? They're talking about this on the, what's his name, Psychic Pebbles podcast, Schmucks, about like consciousness. I wonder if like in the time that humans are around, if there'll ever be another like animal to reach sentience, like an animal to reach consciousness.
I mean,
'Cause
probably
there
the-
are like 1 or 2 animals that can like are able to
Pretty close.
recognize themselves.
Monkeys and dolphins.
Right?
Yeah, they're able to recognize themselves, but there's also an aspect to it. They're not aware that other creatures are able to recognize themselves. Like they can after a little bit they can like, oh, I think that's me, but they're not aware that other dolphin is able to realize that that is me and that it is itself.
Yeah.
So it's like
I remember learning psychology. You can actually teach a monkey up to like 4 or 5-year-old knowledge.
yeah.
And they'll actually get it.
Well, there's Coco the gorilla, which has like
Yeah, like
IQ
they
of,
can.
like 98 or something.
Yeah, you're like, well, I mean, yeah, there's the Coco obviously, but there's others that can like learn the ABCs. They learn how to use sign language. It's kind of interesting.
You think it'll be monkeys then? You think there'll be like an uprising of monkeys at one point?
Yeah,
Planet
weird
of the
Planet of the
Apes.
Apes too.
I think less like Planet of the Apes and more just, well, I guess it kind of would be like Planet of the
Yeah, it
Apes.
would be.
I guess it would be, huh?
You guys are killing our land for far too long.
What if it's dolphins though? Oh my god, how terrifying would it be to see like a little dolphin running around with feet?
Oh my god. I think I would start crying.
And then it comes over and it's like, hi.
Oh my god. That's as scary as like my grandma nightmare. Jesus.
Bipedal dolphins.
Bipedal dolphins running at Mach 6.
I was just thinking today, actually, I wonder if we could prove the existence of a soul.
Yep.
I think.
You think we can?
Yes, I do.
How so?
I read enough of it. Ah! It's okay. Oh! Okay, well, I'm not gonna, but it's late at night and no one's paying me to be a philosopher, so, but I would tell you, read Plato's Theory of Recollection.
Really? That does it for you?
Oh, it does it for me in so many ways. But
I think I've only...
there's 1000% something to Plato's Theory of Recollection.
No, that's the thing is like...
Like scientifically prove?
Oh,
yeah, that's what I mean.
No. That's where you're off on the wrong foot, because this is metaphysical knowledge, and metaphysical knowledge it must be explained a priori. And this is what Kant is talking about in his Prolegomania to future metaphysics. You can't describe these things through empirical data, which you would for the natural sciences. You can't do that. It's metaphysical. It has to be through reasoning. It has to be through a priori. So if you're like, can you prove a soul empirically? Well, no, because that's not the kind of knowledge it is. It's metaphysical knowledge. It has to be through reasoning alone.
So then I guess I'm wondering if that will ever change. Because like there's points in
Yeah.
time where we couldn't even perceive the world being round. Like that wasn't even something you could
We
think
couldn't
about.
perceive
Like,
that there was
you'd
more
fall
than just
off.
Earth.
Yeah, like we couldn't even
There's,
perceive.
That-
there's people in other parts of the world who didn't think there's other parts of the world that existed too.
That's kind of the interesting thing about all knowledge, except for like things
It's like it just keeps expanding.
yeah, except for stuff that we've created, like language, like that's entirely by the reins of our own hand. But things like philosophy and things like science, where they're always changing and kind of expanding, and as we learn more, we learn more. Like, I wonder if there'll ever be a time when we can empirically prove the existence of a soul.
You
I
won't.
think so.
As of right
It's
now, no, but
Well, it's the same
Well,
thing.
because it's-
Metaphysically, we wouldn't be able to prove that there's a black hole, but so far we're getting pretty close to
yeah.
like seeing what a black
That's-
hole does. We've actually seen I think in 2017, don't quote me on this, they just got their first like actual visualization that a black hole can eat
Yeah.
another star.
Well, no,
and
that-
that was all like metaphysical, like just theory and like just thought process reasoning. So like I guess that's true. Like maybe it will change. Like
Right.
I guess like there's a plentiful amount of like
Will there one day be a day when the soul is not a metaphysical topic that is actually provable?
I don't think that those examples were ever metaphysical. I don't think the shape of the Earth or a black hole and what it did was metaphysical. It's not something
the
that
spaghetti theory is. It's like
Spaghettification.
Yeah,
It's just because we don't have an
spaghettification, yeah.
actual explanation for what happened.
yeah.
Well, what is metaphysics? Metaphysics is the study of...
after physics or before physics. Aristotle coined this term, and he didn't explain what he meant by meta, because meta has two meanings: after or
Okay.
beyond.
What if
But it's not just knowledge that's found through reasoning. It's a specific kind of knowledge that's ontological in nature. So it has to do with the nature of being. So when we're talking about the Earth, or we're like, okay, well, let me reason. So if we're talking about the Earth, and Aristotle used arithmetic to find the shape of the Earth. Well, that wasn't metaphysical, even though it was through pure reasoning, because it didn't have anything to do with the nature of being. The soul, that is a topic of the nature of being. It will never not be a topic that isn't of nature of being. Unlike black hole or the color of gold, etc. Those aren't ontological topics. Those aren't topics that have to do with something beyond normal physics or quantum physics.
Yeah, that is beyond, because it's thinking of a black hole is now going into different dimensions where physics doesn't even like exist. Like our physics doesn't exist. We would have to make up a whole new set of physics to understand what a black hole actually does.
Right, but it wouldn't go into metaphysics, I don't think.
I think it would. Like there's a whole like concept of metaphysics where it goes into like these theories of space and this fourth dimension. I know that for sure.
I think
in metaphysics.
I think I kind of get what you mean though. Like the whole point of something being metaphysical is it purely being improvable by scientific means. That's partially what makes it metaphysics. Is that kind of the right direction?
Yeah.
Like that's an aspect of something being
Yeah.
metaphysical is its inability to be proven by scientific
Empirically.
means. Empirically
Yeah.
proven.
So like our information, our science and data won't be able to prove it.
I guess that's not good enough for me then. I like to imagine that at some point science will hit everything. Like, but then I guess there are.
I guess it would just be interesting. Like maybe one day some prodigy will come down to Earth and like change all we know.
So I wanted.
There is an account for consciousness that does do it empirically, and I guess in that way it would still be metaphysics, but that's what's known as a physicalist account. So consciousness, the soul, is just brain matter. It's just information. Your soul, your I, that's just your brain. That's honestly just information going through a machine operated by the brain itself. And so the effect of that is that when you die, when your brain dies, your consciousness goes. There's no actual anything unique about you. It's just a built up of cells that at some point starts kicking in, and it is this machine. So then that's when you have proof for the soul empirically, but you would not ever come across proof for a soul if you're taking an idealist or dualist account, which is when the soul is not physical. It is something other than just the brain. You won't find that empirically.
So I wanted to actually ask you, because I know you were saying like before,
Should have studied
then like philosophy, like your technology would be involved in politics or whatever. Do you think that's like if philosophers are, is that fine, or do you think that you yourself would involve yourself in it?
The reason I know other philosophers have different reasons, but the reason I hold that a true philosopher wouldn't be involved in politics is because in politics, if we're thinking of politics like a politician, what you say is very dependent on the opinions of the public. You really have to kind of structure your whole presentation based on other people, and philosophy really doesn't care for that.
Yeah.
And it's reasoning and truth regardless of whether you like it.
Yeah.
But
That's what.
if you mean like, I think a better account is this. Socrates is a philosopher, for anyone who doesn't know. And he served in war, and he was very political, but
Yeah.
he turned away from it because he said that anyone who wants to philosophize, if they go into politics, they will die. They
Yeah.
will be injured. And what that looks like today is you will be injured. If you were to take a philosopher and put them into politics, they would be targeted. And you see that multiple times when philosophers take on politicians. Socrates was put on trial and killed. Confucius was ran out of towns.
Is that
And
what
he was
kind of like what Noam Chomsky does a lot? Because I know he gets involved in politics quite a bit.
I'm not familiar with that name.
He's like, though I don't like know him too well, but I know he's like a linguist. I forgot. It was like
A linguist.
Yeah, that's what he is, and he was a professor, I think, at like Harvard or something. But sometimes he's like a philosopher, and he's like really really puts his mind out there about politics and stuff. And
yeah, so yeah, I guess he would. Philosophy and politics can mix, but it doesn't end up well for the philosopher.
but why is that though?
Because a lot of what philosophy is shaking your core beliefs.
Yeah. It'd be like.
Getting your foundational ideas and just completely pulling them out from under you. And people
very
in power
triggering.
don't like that.
Oh, what
And
the fuck?
particularly because
He's
one of
freeing
the
me.
basic tenets of philosophy is recognizing your own ignorance, not
I
realizing
smell like ass.
you don't know the things you don't know. And so when you're a philosopher and you have discussions with people such as politicians and you start pointing out that actually they are ignorant. And this isn't as simple as two politicians saying, oh, my opponent is stupid. This is like actually proving through reasoning to a vast amount of people, getting someone in a corner where they can't get out of. And then that politician just, it was evident that they didn't know what they were doing, and now they have it out for you. And that's what happened to Socrates. He was going around exposing people.
The story is dope.
Was Socrates the one that got killed because he was saying he's corrupting the youth, right?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
said that.
They charged him with
Impiety.
believing in promoting false gods and then corrupting the youth.
I know like all of them were like students of each other. Was it like who was it? It was like
Plato was a
Plato.
student of Socrates, and
He-
Aristotle was a student of Plato.
The
Yeah.
fucking trilogy, dude. That's so cool. I really need to read
the
the
Greek
books.
philosophers.
I really need to read the books. Well, I guess it just mostly be Plato's books.
Plato's a good read.
The only like philosophy thing I actually read because I had to read it for political science class in philosophy was Plato's Republic.
I know
I really like
That's
that one.
crazy.
I really like that one.
Okay, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because in Plato's Republic, for anyone who, I know there's people that may be listening one day and they're like,
someday,
what?
baby, some
What is
fucking
this? What are
day.
you talking about? In Plato's Republic, Plato is setting up his idea for a utopian society.
Is that what the whole book is?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, you're talking about this.
Yeah.
It-
I really like
the philosophers are in power, and the idea behind that is because the people who should be in power should have the less, and a philosopher cares nothing for the material world. But an effect of this is lying to the common rabble, the uneducated, and just having them believe all these kinds of lies to keep them content and working.
Oh, fuck.
And
Just
it seems really wrong to
Put up
kind
your
of
hands,
deceive
watch.
everyone to make life good.
The only other one I read was Allegory of the Cave.
Oh, I love
Oh, that's
that.
a classic.
God, I love
you
that.
have to.
I watched that video and it gave me goosebumps. I watched it a long time ago.
But you know, like the Matrix.
It was like intellectually erotic.
Well, I know,
It
like
really is.
I remember, like
Are you talking about like the old school video, like the old animation, the old song?
I don't know if we saw the same video, but I watched like a really old looking video.
Yeah, like the old like 1900s. It's like it's probably the same one because there's only one good one on YouTube or whatever. But like that part at the end where it's like the goal, like the role of the philosopher is to take those in the cave and bring them to that. When it does that little speech and it's like even if it means being put to death. Like I was like I'm getting goosebumps talking about. Like I don't know why that fucking kills me. But it's so good.
It's so intellectually stimulating. And then I'm a Plato Phil. I quite love Plato, but when you read Aristotle, Aristotle takes down Plato. I mean, really, he really takes him down and gives some of the most challenging critiques of Plato. And then you get my first exposure to philosophy was Platonic metaphysics, Platonic epistemology, whatever you want, and I loved it. And then like you think this is right. He has it right. Like he's right.
Isn't
here.
it great? You're like,
And
oh
then-
damn, how could that be proven wrong?
Yeah,
And some motherfucker
and
comes in,
then-
it's like, just think about this lotus flower.
Was
You're
it-
like, oh my
I forgot, was
god.
it Aristotle, Socrates who really didn't like Athens democracy?
Socrates
Uh,
loved Athens.
Socrates.
Aristotle was one that like hated
Aristotle was the one that was like, what's wrong with you? Because they came for Aristotle, and Aristotle was like, what is? No, I'm leaving.
it. Yeah, Socrates was like praised it, but then Aristotle was like, no.
But yeah, him and Plato. Well, Plato was weird. He was like the most present because of his books, but at the same time, he was like the most absent, in my opinion. It's weird. It feels distant the whole time. I haven't read much, so you know. But from what I've seen, it's like Plato was always missing, but then he's always the one writing the book.
Missing how?
I don't know. I've really only read what was it? I can't remember the three things. The Trial, Phaedes, and then
The Apologia.
yeah. It's not the Apologies. It's the Apologia.
In English, it's the Apology. But
I,
it's like,
okay.
I remember reading one of Aristotle's, I forgot the title of it. If I had my old book, I would totally remember what it was. But it was in one of my textbooks, and it was Aristotle's writing on his criticism of the democratic system. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, it's like ranked 3 according to one of them. I think it was Plato. He like the democratic system is like ranking 3, and then it's like blah blah blah. But like the first one is something else that I can't remember.
All I
It's like
remember
2 or
is
3.
like it was like some general was like praising it, and then we like looked at the opposing viewpoint. It was like Aristotle like basically saying no, this shit is stupid, and
Yeah.
here's why. And I forgot what it was called,
I
but
think his
fuck,
number
if
one's
I
in
remember,
Oligarchy.
if I had my textbook and I would pull it up right now, I remember it.
the 3 books that you probably read were the Credo,
Credo, yes.
Yeah.
Was it Phaedo next?
the Phaedo,
Yeah, the
the Apologia.
Yeah, those 3. It was weird because it was like those were all Plato's writing, but he's like absent from all 3 of them.
Well, he doesn't write himself in it.
Yeah.
He uses Socrates
No,
as
it's- I-
his...
as his characters in his other books, like those aren't actual accounts of what happened, but he uses them as like characters in a story. It's fucking dope. It's so cool because like it's a really interesting writing. Like
he's a good storyteller.
it'd be like it's almost like fan fiction, but really fucking important, like intelligent, cool fan fiction.
Yeah.
It'd be like then Captain Falcon approaches Mario and says, "At the beginning of the time, what do you think there was? The lightning bolt or the atom?" It's like it's like stupid shit, but it's like
That
using
was-
crazy.
That was
characters.
Plato's style of writing. If you read text today, if you were to read a philosophy paper today, it would start off with the philosopher building up the situation and going into the argument and telling you very clearly, it seems from this premise, this conclusion follows. And that's very standard of how we write today, but as you go further back, the writing style changes. And for Plato, it was doing that same thing, positing an academic piece, but it was read as a story, as an illustration. It wasn't read like we write now.
It's very interesting.
I also really like, he's not much of a philosopher, I also like Machiavelli's work
I
too.
don't know mathematicians. I don't know that.
We're talking about Pythagoras next.
I know really good mathematicians.
I know he was like based on like what we analyzed, he was a bit of like an authoritarian figure. Like he was like, oh, I think there should only be like a king or queen. But he's got some like really cool writing. I really like his.
God, it's already 11:30. It's wild.
Yeah.
So Pythagoras, you know Pythagoras?
I know
Pythagorean theorem?
I know Alan Turner. Start naming a bunch of
My
mathematicians.
professor,
Alan
Pythagoras
Turner's
was a
interesting.
mathematician. He was
Newton's badass.
just philosopher.
You know who
I'd
I
fuck.
I don't know if you would like agree with his views, but I really think like you should really read into like Karl Marx. 'Cause I have like a copy of the Communist Manifesto in my closet. Because not because I believe in that, but it's just really interesting.
No,
to
he's
study
a
things out.
big part of contemporary
Charles
philosophy, or
Right.
would it be medieval? But there's
He I think
he's
he
contemporary.
I think he like got a doctorate in like philosophy or something.
well, all
But he-
PhDs are.
Yeah, but I forgot. I think it was like just philosophy. Like he
Oh.
majored in just philosophy.
He-
Like he originally went for journalism, then went
No,
for philosophy.
he's
and then
actually
mixed.
he's not some communist thing that gets sprouted around on
J.K.
Facebook.
Rowling.
He's actually a philosopher.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what class it is, but his text is
George
part of the
Washington.
class, and I think it's contemporary philosophy.
When I read through his stuff, you know, I can see where he gets his points. So I'm not like, oh yeah, we should totally go communist, but he brings up some really interesting things. Because his main philosophy is all about like politics is the clash of economic classes and social classes.
I guess
That's his entire theory of why there's so many problems, is because you have these economic classes that are different and they all want different things.
it's like
That's literally what's happening, so that makes sense. But real quick, I was gonna say, like, yeah, no, I'm a very strong believer of like, when there's something that you think and you just immediately go like, yeah, I hate that, of going to it and literally trying to join that side, not like understand. Like a good example is the other day I went online looking for flat Earth theories, but really good ones that were trying to give more scientific accounts, because it's
Better
something that
understand
to me it just like it's so stupid. It's like, how could that be true? But then I was like, maybe that's exactly why I should try to believe it. Just not even like because I want to believe it, because I think that's a good way to approach learning on something.
I guess yeah.
So I went like looking for like that, and then what's his name? The guy from Vsauce did a cool one. He was explaining how like from a hyper accelerated light photon molecule or whatever. He was explaining how from a certain molecule with its physics being drastically changed at when you're moving at near the speed of light or at the speed of light, to that photon molecule, the Earth would only be like 14 centimeters in like width. So it would basically be a flat Earth from the perspective of that photon molecule. And obviously that didn't prove flat theory, but it was an interesting perspective. And I don't know, I think whenever there's something like that where you just immediately think of it and you go one direction, I think that's exactly when you know that you should try to really look into that and try to understand it. Not to believe it, not to join the side really, but just to understand it, because
then you're being the arrogant person now. Because
Yeah.
you're not even trying. I mean, you don't have to agree
Yeah.
with, but at least understanding it, just so you have
Like
a
even
reason to
something-
not like it. I
Yeah.
guess.
Like even something as like vile and triggering as like, this isn't gonna make me any friends, but like rape or like racism, something so blatantly like murder, like how could that be good? And like how could, not even good, but how could that even like you know, like you just immediately go somewhere with your tummy tells you to run away. It's like, I think maybe you should look into that and really dissect it, just to, I don't know, you might learn something.
Yeah, that's what I do with like the Communist Manifesto. I actually have a copy of Mein Kampf too.
Yeah, it's like it's
I
scary.
haven't got
It's
into
like,
I like got into a sort of it, but I was like, it's just like, it's not like, of course, you know, he was an evil person and
If
evil
anything-
things, but just kind of seeing like why he thought that way is really interesting to me.
Well, you have to, because you can't argue against something you don't understand.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't
what I mean.
listen
Is like,
to a
But what I like
racist
to, but what I like,
agree with
but
them,
when I
listen to see
when
what
I
they're
tell Jay is like, I try to
at it.
stay non-biased because I always keep both sides in mind, because I like to see, okay, what my beliefs shape around this, what do others believe, and what are those counter arguments against my or their beliefs,
like
and then kind of like seeing both of the sides and be like, oh, I understand where you're getting that from, or something like that.
my-
Obviously, some stuff is stupid, like, you know, like white supremacy. Like, I kind of find that stuff stupid, and no matter how much deep I dig into it, I'm never gonna be like, yeah, I don't understand.
But
even a bit.
understanding.
But understanding
yes.
stuff such as like why people don't like outsourcing versus why they like outsourcing jobs, or like shipping jobs overseas for cheaper and stuff like that. I can see why people like that.
My biggest.
Personally, you know, I don't, but I can see why people do.
But my. What was it? My
I don't
biggest.
know, I gotcha.
My biggest thing is like, even if you don't like it, I don't know, from a more like educational view, it's like learn it so you understand why people think this, and so you know how to educate them, or you know how to fix it. That's it, really. Is like, that's what I always, because like from my major is all with environment. And if I just tell people to do something, I know they're not gonna fucking do it. Like, I can't just go and be like, oh, don't use plastic bags, or, you know, like, so my biggest thing is like, okay, well, why do people not believe in climate change? I go learn about it, I research it myself, so I go, okay, well, I have a reason why they should. Or I can at least go, okay, well, now we know to never do that, or for the government to not do this. It's like, it's more of an educational thing, and for you to be more like knowledgeable of your whole surroundings. Because also, like, I mean, there's people who've had bad experiences which cause them to be like that. So it's more of like incentive to you to be like, okay, well, how can I educate them? How can I teach them that this is just correct, or at least shift them to a way to help everything and benefit everything.
I was gonna say real quick, I'll probably slightly butcher this, but a great kind of Socrates quote is that whole thing where he's like, I feel like, I don't want to offend you because I know you're a very, very educated, philosophical man, and I've only dipped my toe in the water. But I think there's like a point where he says like, they kind of summarize his beliefs where it's like, he believes all evil, like all that kind of evil comes from just ignorance, just simply not understanding the situation or what it is that's going on, or like just not understanding. He believes all evil comes from ignorance, and I think that was really cool.
It's kind of like what I was telling you earlier, like the biggest problem with people is their selfishness.
You said like the
Yeah.
biggest issue with people are themselves.
Yeah, it's like
Which
the
is true.
biggest problem with humans are humans themselves.
Yeah, it's like, it's interesting.
That's a really nice way of putting it. I like the way Socrates put it when he said you're stupid. It's called Socratic ignorance. You do terrible things because you lack the knowledge to do better.
Wow.
But I get, if we want to be nice,
It's like humans
we can
are
be like,
their
oh,
own
I mean,
you're your
destruction.
if
own
you-
problem. Said it. You're an idiot, Becky.
The reason why I like say that is just because like through history of wars and beliefs and such like that, it's literally around people's selfishness that.
It is.
Of course, some people are less selfish
Our
than
lives are
others,
really like
but I think everyone is selfish in like at least some sort of way.
Yeah.
And there are
No,
people obviously who are
definitely.
just selfish in every aspect, that everything's about them and always about them. It's not about them, they don't give a fuck.
Our life surrounds that. Like, why are we working so hard to make money? It's because we want to be, specifically us, successful. And like, I'm not gonna, like, there's no person I think can go out there and be like, I'm not selfish. Because even if you are kind and you try to give stuff, of course you're selfish because you're working for your own moral reasons.
If you really want to be like not selfish when you give people stuff, you don't ever ask. Like even
Don't
if you
ask-
don't ask for anything in return, you're still being selfish because you still have oh God, who was I reading? Oh God, I was like in a different class of mine, but we were basically
Your head
reading
explodes
about.
like, oh God!
No, but
oh
we were reading
God.
how everyone will always be. Oh, it was actually in my policy class. We were reading how like everyone will always be selfish just because you get that feeling of, oh, I did something good.
Yeah.
That's selfishness.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is like
there's
even if
never there. No one can ever be just no one can ever be not selfish.
Even if you think you're
matter
not
what.
selfish.
Even if you're not think you're selfish, you think you're not selfish is being selfish.
I don't think I'm
Like,
selfish,
you
but
can't.
I do know I am selfish for my own moral reasons of like I'm trying to do things because I want to be known. That's a selfish
Yeah.
thing to think of. It's like
you want to help, but then at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it'd be
It's
cool
for
to
me.
be memorized.
yeah, it'd be cool to have a legacy. It's like, well, that's still selfish. Like no one knows. I don't think any human actually does anything just out of the fucking kindness of their heart. You always have that idea too. If you went, just think about this. When you walk by a homeless person, you go ahead and give them money, right? It's not just because, oh, here you go. You have this like small little conscious thought of like, oh, I'm doing good for him. I'm
Yeah,
doing
you
good.
feel like-
I look like the hero.
Yeah.
And it's like not something like you constantly think of, but it is like a feeling that we get when we go,
Subconsciously,
oh, here you go.
do that, yeah.
You know?
So that's why I was like, it's just really hard to. So when everyone's like, oh, I'm not selfish, you're wrong. Everyone is selfish. It just depends on how many aspects you are on that scale. So obviously, you could be a really good person, but you do one good thing for someone, you're still being selfish.
Doesn't mean like you're an asshole.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're an
selfish piece of
asshole.
shit.
You're being nice, but you're selfish in the way that, oh, I did something good, or I made his life better.
Yeah, no.
Versus
And it's
someone
not
who's
that
already
thing,
like,
it's just-
fuck everyone else. If it's not good for me, it's not good for anyone.
Overall,
Stuff like
it just
that.
means that like humans, I think we all think in a way of being selfish. Like we do things to improve us, and I think that's more of just like an animalistic instinct for us as like, you know, animals and stuff is like survival is like what's gonna benefit me. And it's not like a bad thing. It's not like you're the asshole who keeps all their money and like sleeps in $100 bills. It's just that's just how it is. That's just how life is, where we all really are working for this one personal like self goal.
Yeah. So it sounds like it. I just want to paraphrase, make sure I have it correct. That you're saying when we do good acts, it comes back to us feeling a goodness about ourselves, and that's why we perform the good acts. Is that correct?
I think that's really one of the main reasons why we do them.
If someone were to say to you, if someone were to posit the idea that the reason we do good acts is because we're conditioned to do those good acts, we're told to do these good things because they're good, and that's why we do good things, what would you say to them?
Why I really think like overall we're told to do good things is because like I said, like we're basically like built to benefit each other as a race, you know, like as the human race. And like animalistically, it's like we're a group and we have to benefit the group. And so if we see something, we should be helping. But then also, I think the reason why we continue to help, because I mean, of course, like if it was really like we're back to like caveman times, it would be like for everyone to each of their own. Like I'm gonna find my food, I'm gonna find somewhere to shit and stuff. But like, like you know, like it's just like
My
each their own.
pothole.
Or like I'll sacrifice myself for the tribe. And I think that's kind of where it's, I guess, came from. Of like, you know, you gotta do good for others. It's because like we grew up with this kind of already generated thought. But I really do think a lot of people, it's not like someone's like, you know what, I'm gonna do good because my mom said so. It's your mom said that because she did something good and she realized how good it felt, and she's like, oh wow, like I'm the good person, I'm like the protagonist in this. And then what does your parents want you to be? Better. So of course they're going to teach you like you should be doing these good things and these good acts, and it's just a constant thing. And like you go do something good and you feel good about yourself, and of course you're going to keep improving that and like telling other people, is because I mean it feels good. And you're like, okay, I want everyone else to do good. And then that goes back to you feeling good again. It's like, I mean, it's not like a bad thing. I'm not saying like it's a shitty thing, but like I really think that it stems down to like more of a selfish ideology for everybody.
Just that like selfishness is. Sort
Yeah,
of the
it's not like a
root of
bad
everything.
selfishness, but it does make you feel good. Like you can't deny when you do something for someone else. There's a small like little feeling and go like, wow, like
Yeah,
I did good.
Even if you're not doing it to feel good, like one of the reasons like I'll specifically try to do good things is so that I feel like I'm being a better person and like I'm
Yeah.
improving, like I'm striving, like I'm growing. Like even if it's just like I don't know, like just dumb things, like it'll be like
giving someone a run.
yeah, like it'll be like I don't really care that much. It's like I don't feel that good. It's like it wasn't like that big of a deal. But it'll be like, you know, I almost feel like it was like if somebody was watching me in a TV show right now, it'd be cool for them to see like, hey, look, that guy's good. Like that's a cool, good guy right there.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
it
know.
goes back to your like self-image
Yeah, it
and
always-
improving your self-image.
It always comes back to you.
My initial thought would be that if we're doing something for ourselves, it's not really good. So then we're never the what follows that is that we just never do good acts.
It's never like true charity.
It's not true charity.
yes,
Yeah,
never,
I definitely
like,
agree
charity,
with that.
'cause
There's never a time where you go like, out of the kindness of my heart, I will give you my house. Like, no one's gonna do that.
Well, because that is it's too late for me to think of these larger words, but that would be immoral to go to that extent to overgive, because that's not correct either. That actually hurts people, particularly it hurts you to overgive. So there's a limit, right? So charity to us does not look the same financially that it does for the president of the school,
Yeah.
right? Charity to us would be giving our time versus charity to someone else would be giving their money. So for us, if we were to be like, oh, here's $100K, well, that's actually not being charity. That's just hurting people. So there's a limit. Would you say that we can never give like true charity? So confining charity to the reasonable
For our
range,
limit as
would you
like
say?
reasonable people, if we like came up to this homeless guy, we would give him a reasonable amount of money, not something that's gonna
Or
break
maybe
our
like
fucking
our
bank.
fries.
But yeah,
we
yeah.
have for- Would you say that would be true charity, or would you say it would, even within the normal range there just is no true
I don't
charity?
think
I don't
there's
think
ever
there's
such a
any
thing
true
as true
charity.
charity.
That's what I mean is like what you're saying is like
I
true
get it.
charity would be like I drop out of college and I just go build a bunch of houses and become homeless and just, you know, try to do everything for the good of everyone
Oh.
else and not really caring for myself. That's what I'm saying is like selfishness is really like there's a limit to selfishness being negative and positive. Like of course you want to be selfish because overall we're trying to survive.
Mhm.
And that's like a whole reason of living is to survive.
Which makes sense if you have to
Which makes
prioritize
sense.
yourself over others.
It
Does
yeah.
make sense.
So like I don't think there's ever true charity where anyone would ever go and be like, you know, just have my house, have my car. It's like, because
Well,
that would be true charity.
where I think it becomes overdone if we're defining as true charity. If we're saying true charity is hurting ourselves, which would be what we would do if you just dropped out of college or you just gave up your house, you'd be hurting yourselves. That seems to be how we're defining true charity.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Is like
Okay.
overall, like in general, we're never doing true charity to where we're never like we're selfishless. Like we're never doing that because we
Okay.
always think about ourselves, right? Even in cases of like, that's what I mean is like you never give up your house because it would hurt you, because you need to live, you need to survive. But you will help people, and that's charity. But like,
Yeah, and
breaking
would it
down
be-
charity to what it is and like not being selfish.
That then the charity that we do just goes
Yeah.
back to what you were saying earlier, which is we're doing it for our own reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
So-
feeling good for ourselves. Not really like a thing where it's like a cocky thing where everything that we do is like, oh well, this is gonna help me and this is gonna benefit this. It's just really like unconscious stuff. It's just
Okay.
satisfaction of like, you know, seeing a homeless person and giving them a jacket.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, I felt like I improved his life and my life. Like
Yeah.
I feel better as a
My-
person, I feel satisfied.
My thoughts now are that, because originally we were talking about, well, we could never do a good act, and to exemplify that, we started talking about charity.
Yeah.
If charity isn't actually good because it's being done for ourselves, and true charity hurts ourselves, which would be giving up everything, overdoing it, hurts ourselves, well, that's not a good act either.
Yeah.
So then charity would not be an example
of a
Yeah.
good act, true charity. And would you say that
True
charity, no charity, even true charity?
I think
is a good act?
any kind of charity is still not like a true act.
Well, suppose it was a true act. True charity, as we discussed, hurts ourselves. So could true charity even be a good act?
Overall in the whole picture, no.
I would say
Ooh, that seems like a rough position to take.
I would say like true charity is even to an extent unattainable. I think the only person that could possibly attain something like true charity would be like the fucking Buddha, like Siddhartha.
Right.
Would be someone who is so utterly indifferent to everything as it is anyway that giving this, I think at that point the charity would have to be to you not even a charity at all, but simply just like exhaling. Like giving that away would mean so little to you. At the time that it would mean so little, it would mean exactly the same as it would to you having it. And I don't think a human being is biologically capable of hitting that point. Obviously, there's been
that's what I'm trying to say.
there's been religious examples, like Siddhartha Buddha. There's been Hinduistic like accounts and stuff like that, and then probably some like other religions that I haven't been studying the last 2 weeks that I remember off the top of my head. But like, so you'd have to assume that in the stories, in the sense of what they are, those people who are completely indifferent, and which is part of that idea that. If you believe that, then yes, those would be the only people actually capable of attaining the ability to do true charity.
And that's what Janessa was saying when she was saying that we can never attain. Oh my god, the trans flag with football. Anyway, so we can never attain true charity regardless of that. It seems that we've settled on true charity is something that would end up hurting ourselves by saying true charity.
Yeah, I think that's
does hurt yourself. So the question still goes back to charity, true charity, which we can never attain. True charity, this idea of charity, is not a good act at all, ever. And that seems rough to say.
I think
that's hard to say.
I think that the very aspect of for the fact of separating terms, true charity is this like thing that we simply cannot attain unless you are in all aspects the Siddhartha, the Buddha, or whatever. Not the Siddhartha, the Buddha. Siddhartha became the Buddha. So unless you become like the Buddha, where you're so utterly indifferent that
Rue became the Paul.
But basically, like that is the only way to attain this true charity. And then there's like, we'll say like would be like self-fulfilling charity would be that like even down to the minute level, like even if I'm giving up this food that I don't care about, I'm giving it up because I don't really want to hold on to it. Like even down at that level where it's like it's still benefiting you. And then there's the part where it's harmful charity where you're giving too much. I think that harmful charity would be the only attainable form of true charity that a human could get to, but not because like it's still not comparable to the true charity. But at that point, you're giving so much that by like survival definition, this no longer benefits you as a biological organism. Like you could take it back down to its base form. There's you and one other person in like the cold. Both of you are about to starve to death. There's only enough food for one of you, and for the sake of this argument, you can't split it for some reason. I don't fucking know why. But one of you leaves with all the food. And let's say you have the rights to it first. You've got your hands on it. At that point, if for some reason, I don't know, it was like a cute guy or a cute chick or something, you decide to give up the food to that person, or if you feel bad for them or whatever it is, if you decide to give that food to that person, that now becomes, as we've defined, a charitable act, a harmful charitable act that like hurts you because you're not personally, like economically, not in money, but in just terms of like
just survival, you're
biological, survival resources. You're not economically stable enough to give that up. I think at that point it becomes harmful charity, but that is also the only kind of real charity that humans can give, is at the point when it becomes harmful.
So it seems like what we're saying to be true charity, you said, can actually be attained by humans, and what is true charity is not something that's overdone that harms us, which is in opposition to what Janessa said. Which is fine, you can do that. But am I getting you correctly? I
think the true charity, which we described as like something that only the Buddha could get, is only attainable by someone who becomes like a Buddha or whatever, someone who becomes utterly indifferent.
So it's always going to be harmful unless you're that person.
But I think that harmful charity is in essence the only sort of like typically accepted charity. Like when you think of charity, like, oh, I give just because I just care so much.
Like, I think at the point that it becomes harmful is the only point at which it actually becomes a sort of real charity. Not true charity, but like a real charity.
Okay, I see where you're going.
You know what I mean? I think
So-
I think the act of it being harmful to yourself actually makes it charity.
Yeah, that's what I was, that's
Okay.
like, that's what I was like trying to say is like, we don't do like this true charity because it's harmful to us. So it's like,
Okay.
the only way to do charity is to harm ourselves, and that's why I'm saying it's kind of good that we're selfish because
Yeah.
we need to survive and we can't really give that much.
Okay.
I mean,
I have a better
Yeah.
account for it now. It's hard for me. I'm a visual person,
yeah.
so it's
Feels like
better.
it
That's why every time true charity was up here in the light.
Yeah, well, you keep putting it as a form, and the issue with putting it as a form is it's like there's an infinite number of forms, and it
Yeah.
muddies up the
And
universe.
then you have to use all your tax forms and fill all your tax.
Yeah.
W2 charities.
God, I hate W2s.
How many times have you debated about charity?
So if there's a form of charity, well, then is there a form of hairball and a form of lint? And like, where does it stop? And it seems like I'm jumping, but it's actually not. So we start with like the form of charity,
I'm talking
the
about
form of
like
goodness, and then we go to the form of a chair, and then it's like an infinite digress. So when you posit true charity is only being attainable as a form, which makes sense.
okay, so it's
cognitively.
no.
Okay,
I don't think
but
that
then we have to account for like everything else.
you're
that
talking
could
about
be-
like the argument of forms, right? Like the whole.
Because well,
I think it's
'cause-
Plato, isn't it?
yeah, Plato's argues for the forms, and I love the forms.
Okay.
Well, why do I love the forms?
Well, I don't
because
you guys
it
know
makes
what
it
the
so-
forms argument is.
No,
'cause this isn't
like
making
all
any
I do
sense
is
at the moment.
mathematician.
We're like
I really
I was like-
am
I was like
just
thinking, I
you
think
guys
I'm
talk and trying to
interjecting.
throw stuff in.
Yeah, because I was like,
so the forms for Plato are the concept you have of something,
Yeah.
and these ideas exist in another realm. So if you look at a chair, take chair is like a philosopher's favorite example. Take a chair. You have this chair. You have that chair. You have a beanbag chair. You have a stool. What's the common denominator between all of them, assuming different shapes and different materials? And we can look at an art museum and see all kinds of wonky chairs. Well, what's the common denominator? Well, there's a chairness. There's an
Yeah.
essence of it being a chair, and that exists in another realm for Plato. That's the form.
and
The
then
essence of something existing in another realm.
Yeah.
And the issue with it, so if we just take true charity and put it as a form, the issue with the forms is that there's an infinite number.
yeah,
And it
it's-
actually doesn't help us understand this world any better, because it just makes that world more complicated. And it doesn't help explain this one very much. And then you also
Okay, cool.
you have to say, so we have true charity. We have our understanding of what it means to be charitable has to come from this true charity. It has to. Where else are we getting it? Uncharity? Like, that's not happening. And then even yeah, it has to come from the form of true charity. Well, what's the relation? How is true charity unattainable, something unattainable to humans, getting down to us? Like, what's that relationship?
This is kind of out of my whole
It is.
area, so I can't
It-
even really say anything. So
It is.
I'm out
But
of this
it
topic.
is
I'm out of
the-
it.
I've never taken philosophy, so you
I've only
guys
taken one
go.
philosophy
I mean, no,
class,
you
so I
can still
can't
take a
be
shot
like,
at it.
oh,
But I
yeah,
really
no
don't
philosophy.
understand it, and like
If
If you want to talk about
I
like
don't,
political
like, I really
philosophy,
can't,
then
like,
yeah, I
yeah,
can
well,
go
like,
all day about that.
it's
but
out of my region.
philosophy
Do you
in
think the
general.
forms thing really?
She doesn't.
I mean,
care.
I kind of no, I kind of get it, but I don't want to talk out of like. I don't understand it to the point where I feel comfortable to be like, oh, let me have a conversation about it.
I
think
if you were talking about you, I mean, I do not know what you study at all, and if you were to start talking
Cool.
about like this whole
I'm
engineering,
glad.
um,
I'm glad my major isn't that known.
no, I know
No,
what
I
you
know, it was
study,
a
but I
joke.
don't know the topics. I've
Yeah.
never taken.
That's what I'm
chem
saying
class.
is like these topics are your guys' class's topics, so that's where I'm kind of like I tapped out. Like I don't.
It's a hard
Biology.
battle. It's not eugenist. It's a hard battle. I mean, these are battles that have been taken up and still haven't been dealt with by some of the greatest minds of human history.
But I think a good way to summarize the forms is like there's a sort of
There's
a
Cher and then
mental
there's Madonna.
perfect image
One's
of
divine,
what
one's
all these
Cher, Madonna,
objects
and
in
Buddy
life
Guy.
represent.
And cherry is a good example
Lowers
because it's like
quality.
you can associate all of these things as being
Yeah,
chairs,
very
but only because they resemble that one perfect form of chair that you have in your head. And then the reason why that
It's like
like one
chair or
perfect
chair?
form is in our head is like
Oh, I know.
basically he attributes that with how it's unattainable in real life. Like there will always be this minute, like little imperfection. Because that it is perfect, that means it is associated with the divine, which is always perfect and always unchanging or whatever. I don't know if it says unchanging, but it's perfect. It is perfect in all senses, and because it's unattainable in this realm, that means that the realm of the forms that we are able to access purely with our mind belongs to the world of the divine.
Yeah.
I
I get it, but what I'm
Your
trying
hair
to
is
say
gorgeous.
is it's not like in my realm to talk.
It's kind of just reaching.
That's what I'm saying. Is
Okay.
like it's not in my realm to talk. Like
I don't know. I think
I
it
can't
helps.
really have an opinion on it because I just learned about it like in a couple of sentences. Like is what I'm saying.
No, I get you. I got
It's
you.
like if I started talking about double integrals and be like, well, come on, guys.
It's like what I was telling Ryan the other day, like, actually today, that I don't, like, giving out my opinion on stuff I don't know a lot about.
Yeah. Like,
And my basic example is, like, GMOs, because, yeah, the only reason I say that is, like, oh, yeah, I'm sure it helps because of population, but I don't know what else, that's about it.
It's a trigger word. It's not innately bad. It basically just stands for a modified organism, and modifying the DNA of an organism doesn't immediately make it like harmful.
Bad,
It doesn't
yeah.
turn it into like a fucking monster that rampages around your genetic code and then fucks your
it's actually
kidney.
beneficial.
Well,
It's-
okay.
It can quickly get out of hand because it can lead to things like DNAs that produce enzymes or produce byproducts that then can become toxic to the body, can become harmful. But in its essence, all it is defining a process that involves changing the
Yeah.
genetic code of a creature, which, unless you're religious, isn't innately bad, I don't think.
It does. It's not really bad.
But it is
I
a very.
think
It's actually really beneficial to a lot of countries.
It just usually gets out of hand because it's like, these pigs, we can make them fatter, I can make them fucking bigger, we can eat them more, and then it quickly gets out of
Comes
hand.
into like a more economic,
And then-
capitalistic.
Yeah, and it's a good trigger word because you hear GMO, genetically modified organism. It
And when you
sounds
think of
kind of
modified,
scary.
yeah, it sounds like some sci-fi shit.
And then you add, I don't know, you probably know, I don't know.
I don't know,
But
probably.
Monsanto, they're like this giant meat corporation. And actually, you might want to tweet this out because you think I'm joking. They come for people and they have a lot of money, and I'm not playing. They will try to buy farmers' land, and the farmers will be like, no, this is literally my livelihood. Like, you don't, most people don't just start up a farm, like they've been doing it
Yeah.
for generations.
Yeah.
They won't give it up to Monsanto, so Monsanto will move in next door with their own GMO, their own GMOs are not. It's not a monolith. There's different species, or I don't know the correct term. Because
GMO
there's different
is a term, and
strains
there's-
of weed. Well, that's like that for GMOs. They have their own patented GMO, and when the wind
Patent
comes,
GMOs? What
yes,
the fuck?
oh
How can
yes,
you
that's
patent
the
genetic code.
That's the money.
Jesus.
Well, when you're $1 billion corporation.
I guess, yeah, like I'm patenting that strain of
Yeah.
DNA. Like, Jesus
And
Christ,
when
get
the
off your
wind
horse.
comes,
It happens a
it
lot.
blows Monsanto's GMOs into the field of the farmers, and GMOs are contaminants. They contaminate, and they now turn all of the farmers' crops into the GMO strain of Monsanto, so Monsanto takes them to court for having their product growing.
Yeah.
They don't win the case, but
They
what
also do
happens
that,
is they have deep, deep pockets, and they keep these farmers in court until bankruptcy, and the farmers have to sell their farm.
They,
So we see GMOs being used as a weapon there to
Well,
hurt others.
I haven't heard GMOs being used like that, but I have heard pesticides being used like that. A lot of times where there's companies that will have the wind blow into the pesticide or the runoff from the agriculture go into a farm and be like, oh, well, we're protecting your land, this is my land now, or you need to give us some kind of money because this is our pesticide that we specifically made for our specific stuff. I've heard it for pesticides, I have not heard that about GMOs though.
I learned it in like nutrition.
It's really interesting.
I wonder what kind of. I guess if you mean by GMOs and it blowing through the wind, they must be the seeds that get carried by
The
the
seeds.
plants
It's
that
the
are
seeds.
genetically modified. It's like, I was
You
like,
can't like put
well, like, if you don't know
Yeah,
what
you don't
GMO
like
is,
love
it's described as this like spore that travels and hits the ground,
yeah.
creeps around in the plants, and it's like, now I'm you. But yeah, that makes more sense if it's like the offspring of his things, and that's really uncontrollable unless you're out there fucking catching the seeds out of the air, which is physically impossible. So that's really fucked.
That's a big thing.
And that's not
Everybody
GMO's
knows
fault.
that.
That's Monsanto's fault.
That's
We
just
see
that's just
that,
people
like they're
using
Fuck
every
that.
every single fucking thing we can get our hands on poorly.
Mhm.
What are we gonna do to hurt
But
ourselves?
then again, even with that example of GMOs not being used in that like unmoral way are still beneficial
Yeah.
to like produce food and agriculture.
Yeah,
It's
that's
actually
just
really
scary.
increased a lot.
It's just scary because you think of like, oh my god, that's not natural. But the only thing that could really hurt you is if inside that organism is now suddenly producing a byproduct that can harm you. But for the most part, if it's suddenly producing a byproduct that can hurt you and it's something you typically eat, it's probably hurting the organism itself. It's hard to like produce a biologically harmful compound inside of yourself and have it not hurt you but hurt other organisms. Unless
Yeah.
you're bacteria or like something so
Yeah,
simple.
or Sarah Palin.
Yes.
But yeah, I had like the whole like idea. Well, I did like a small paper on it, so I can't really say much. But the whole reason I did a small paper on it is because I heard so many negative things about GMOs. So then,
How far is it?
I don't know. I'm trying to see.
so then I was thinking like,
We can end it after this.
oh, this will be
2
kinda
hours
interesting.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But when I actually learned about it, it's actually benefiting a lot of countries and helping a lot of people and like really stopping starvation. So then like I was looking for cons and there's really not many cons unless people like the
Like-
example
like-
that was given are like misusing it for that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fucked. That really makes me mad.
Yeah.
Who the hell has the right to fucking copyright a strain of DNA?
The right of money.
The other
Right
subject
by money.
I don't hit on and I don't like to is religion, just because.
We're
no,
still-
hold on.
Oh, he still needs to do his two.
No, I did do them.
Did you?
Yeah, I did them a long
This
time
whole
ago.
episode was happy and crappies, and then it's fucking
Um,
30 minutes. Something.
no, I just like-
Jesus, philosophy's
It's a
tangent.
big word. It's okay.
Jesus.
Because people have like their own religious beliefs and people have their reasons why they have it, and that's understandable, and I don't really care about that. The only thing that I do care about are two things. One, don't shove it down my throat, and two, don't put in fucking policies and laws. That's the only thing I
Where does this
ask.
come from?
Well, I just said like there's like two, because I was saying before like the whole GMO things, like there's two things that I don't really have an opinion on. The others only ask for like,
I don't remember.
Escalate.
and the only reason why I ask for it is just because one, like I said, it's not a problem as long as you're not one shoving it down my throat, or two, you're putting into policies and laws, which I don't find right, because then what you're doing is you're favoring one religion or culture over another.
And the most amazing part, guys, of all this is as far as science tells us, every single thought we've had and every single movement we've made, from the tiny little flicks of our hands to the movement of our tongues and our lips to create the word structure, was all powered by the simple transfer of potassium and sodium switching sides of a cell membrane happening hundreds of billions of trillions times in every single neuron cell and every neuron synapse and every muscular neuron synapse to power this whole thing. Every thought you had was nothing more than an electrical current passing through two neurons.
And he's like plugging in his sponsor. Everything we've done from this point was powered by
The neuron.
Neutrogena for the face.
The neuron.
And the only thing that makes those neurons
What's
stronger.
neutral about you?
What's neutral?
Anyways, guys, comment below if you like communism, and we'll talk to you next time.
Hope you guys like that surprising twist. We led in with the wieners, hit you with the Socrates, and then tuned out with GMOs.
And religion.
And
Comment
religion.
below if you have any, you want to fight us. I'm down for some bad comments.
And for those 3 fans out there, keep it strong, guys.
Let's go, Napoleons.
Like,
Happy Diwali.
subscribe,
Happy
hit that
holidays,
bell,
happy
share this with your
Thanksgiving,
friends,
Happy Hanukkah.
share it on your
Happy
media.
Kwanzaa.
Jesus Christ.
Happy birthday. Happy anniversary.
Alright, bye.